Hello everyone, welcome to another live recording of Odd Shaped's panel. For anyone who's new to the show, what we do is we have a long discussion with a bunch of our friends, and tonight a special guest, the writing staff behind X-Men the Animated Series, Eric and Julia Lewald. So we'll be looking forward to seeing them soon. And we're just going to wait a little bit to let some people roll into the room. Feel free to talk in the chat. We'll do some shout outs. Hello, Billy, Delisha, Jack, our producer from the Tough channel.
Mormo.
Mormo at Mormozine. We saw Cal in there earlier. Cal said his cousin might be watching, so shout out to Cal's cousin. We didn't get a name, sorry. Who else do we see in here? Dub had to step out, but Dub is going to be back, so hello, Dub. Our cat's being ridiculous, and there might be a reason why. We'll explain later. You're going to want to see it. Stay throughout.
Surprises.
Hello, Eric. Eric just popped in. If you would like to call in tonight, the first section of tonight is going to be dedicated to X-Men, but we are going to be talking to the chat. And so there will be interaction, just not caller-to-caller interaction. Hello, Ashley. Hello, Joe. All right, the room's filling up pretty nicely. So anything we want to talk about before we get into the episode?
Mavis is crazy.
Mavis is crazy. Everyone say hello to Mavis. We're looking forward to that, Billy. So again, please let us know if you're interested in calling in. This way we can get a list started. We know some of the regulars. I'm pretty sure Ashley and Joe are just going to call in regardless.
Janine's here.
Hello, Janine. Yes, in the chat they're talking about the other shows on the Tough channel. There's a link in the description. The other 3 shows, you have our finished versions of our show, Odd Shaped's panel. You have BFF Because Fan Fiction, which is like a sidebar to our debate show called Fan Friction. And then there's the DVD Bunker, which is our friend Brian at Hercules, who cannot make it tonight, unfortunately. I know he's bummed out about that, but he runs the DVD Bunker along with his friend Matt. So definitely check that out. It's down in the description, along with the website and Twitter to our guests tonight, Eric and Julia.
Them?
We're going to call them in a few seconds. We're just chatting away. We might want to move that so it's not so clicky.
Click. Because it's on The Wire.
The Wire. I heard that's a good show.
But maybe they're just waiting for us to give them a ring.
Yep. Well, we told them it would be probably around 9:10 because it takes a little bit to get people in the room. We just wanted to make sure everybody got a chance to get in here. Billy asked where we got that pop, or the Hulkbuster pop. We signed up briefly for the Marvel Corp.
Marvel Collector's Corps.
Yeah.
I'm actually very proud of that thing. It's super cool.
The bobblehead.
It doesn't even feel like plastic. It's like heavy, and it's a sweet-ass bobblehead. So thank you for noticing. I love this thing. It was from the first Marvel Collector's Corps box.
And you might notice that there's a bunch of Marvel characters and a Beetlejuice up there. There's a reason behind that, you'll see. We're staying warm. It's a little cold outside, but luckily we have heating. Last year was rough. We had an oil heater, and that thing was going out all the time. But this year, heat's included. You know what that means?
It's warm?
It's warm. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and send an invite to our friends. The beard is for my cosplay during our anime episode, and we'll get all into that later, but I'm going to grow it out for that. The wind is brutal.
Yeah, I still love the snow though, because I'm from Florida and this is only my second winter here. And last year we didn't get snow until 3 days after Christmas. So this year I'm kind of enjoying that. Like hopefully we'll have like nice snowy festive environment outside for a little while. Like, I never saw snow until I came up here to visit Tom a couple years ago. So now I'm like crunching my boots in the snow just because it's still exciting to me.
Sure. You know nothing, Jon Snow, says Billy. Jack's excited that Mormo's here.
Everyone loves Mormo.
Mormo's great. Big shout out to Mormo and Randall Sands. Oh, look at that. They are right on the money. I was just about to message you guys. Hello.
Well,
yeah. I'm just going to shout out real quick, and then I'll let you introduce yourselves because I'm sure you can do a better job than I can. So real quick, thank you so much to Mormo and Randall. You have become our first patrons and our Patreon, which is something little to help us out with our equipment. It helps out a lot. Even though it's a little, it still helps. But thank you so much for coming. Everyone, this is Julia and Eric Lewald. So real quick, staff behind X-Men the Animated Series. Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
You getting us okay?
Yeah, it's clear. Really clear. Your picture is better than ours.
We're hearing a little lag. Is our microphone not messing with the playback or feedback or anything?
Do you have any other windows open? It might just be the internet. And I can turn down my audio a little bit because it might be just the clash. It's not like the band the clash.
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good. Don't worry about it.
So how are you? How's California? You staying warm?
It's warmer than where are you, by the way? We were asking ourselves. We know there are.
We are 15 minutes away from the Woodstock 69 site up in Sullivan County, New York.
Not to date us, but we actually know a few people that went. So from our toddlerhood.
We might know them. So thank you so much. Did you guys want to plug anything? Or I know you guys are huge on Twitter. You love being involved with everyone who shouts out X-Men.
Sure.
You might know them.
Listen, thank you guys so much. We've only been on Twitter
since May.
It's a new thing for us. So all of this is new for us because we looked at a calendar a couple of years back and went, 25th anniversary is coming up for X-Men, and no one's doing anything.
Do you have the YouTube window open? Because it may be a double transmission going on, because I hear the lag too.
I'm sitting back. Is there something you know to do about this?
I can try.
Oh, I know what to do. I know what to do.
See? so it is our fault, guys.
We don't know. Yeah. But give us 1 second to try and get this figured out.
Everyone in the chat is excited to see you, and they appreciate your involvement on Twitter, they're saying. And I'll let you continue. I'm sorry about that. Real quick, we usually do an intro, but you guys were so quick on the money that we didn't have a chance.
Right.
Great, because usually it takes forever to have people call in, so it's nice to have the opposite problem. But just real quick, we're going to talk for 5 seconds, and then we'll start off. The internet, it's live, people. Thank you. Hello, welcome to another odd-shaped panel. I am beyond excitement. We have great guests tonight, the writing staff behind X-Men the Animated Series. If only 8-year-old me could be here today, he wouldn't believe it. Anything you'd like to say?
No, really. We're excited,
we're here.
And basically, let's get started.
Thank you, everyone in the chat watching along. We look forward to your answers, and let's talk to who's the feature of today's episode, Eric and Julia Lewald. Hello, welcome, thank you.
Listen, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
We really appreciate this, the opportunity to just chat face-to-face with folks, since, again, mostly it's just going through Twitter or our XMENTAS.com website, so it's really nice to talk.
Yeah, and when you're doing the work, you work at home by yourself, and 9 months later somebody watches it on TV. You never really make the connection, but it's nice to make the connection and see people that actually seen what we've written. It's very humbling, and it's very gratifying.
And just to clarify up front, and there is plenty of credit to go around to everybody. Eric is the fellow who, on the writer's side, developed X-Men for TV, and is responsible for being story editor, series writer for the entire run of the show. I had the privilege of writing a couple scripts for the show. He and I met because we're both animation writers, and my first job was at Disney TV Animation on the Disney Afternoon. That's where we met, and then when he got this opportunity for X-Men, I got to be a fly on the wall for most of it. I got to attend a lot of meetings, and pitch other stories that I didn't necessarily get a chance to write, but got to be there for the process. And it's just gratifying that folks are remembering it fondly, that you all grew up well, you know.
If I'm correct, you were the writer on Days of Future Past Part 1, correct?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
That is a good episode as well. So don't sell yourself short.
Thank you.
All of it.
And she would have written a lot more episodes, but she was having a couple of sons at the time, so sorry about that spit take. But that intruded a little bit. But she did help with us setting up all the stories, so she did keep her hand in.
I just love this interview because as a couple doing the show, we often have to do things together creatively. I mean, do you have any advice for us?
Separate desks.
Separate desks.
We need desks.
Yes.
Yes, start with desks.
Our desks, you can't see it from here. His desk is over there. This is my desk. We can be here in our home office once we're sitting in front of our computers and go from breakfast to lunch, and not even talk to the other person because we're just focused on this. Then we go out to lunch together. That's our big break for the day.
Yeah.
And that's where we read magazines, catalogs, and stuff. Yeah. And then we come back, and we're back in front of our computers.
Yeah, but if we need to talk something through, which often, then somebody's 8 feet away, and it's an easy.
Oh yes,
it's easy to get a hold of them.
I've kind of, in my own way, never understood folks who, as a couple, don't want to be together, or I could never stand it. Well, then why are you together? Then again, that's a personality thing, but I appreciate folks who can appreciate each other.
Yeah, we always use the reference like war buddies. You know, guys come back from war for a tough day at the office, and if their spouse hasn't experienced that, it's hard to get across, you know, who you wanted to punch out that day. But if you both have the same stupid boss, it really, you know, you really can bond over it.
Very cool.
That's very applicable. Thank you. Well, we have some great questions submitted from some great fans in our community, and so we figured we'd have you start them off if you don't mind. Our friend Cal at Viren J. Javu asked, who is your favorite X-Men from the animated series?
Just speaking in terms of to write for, and each character had, you know, things that made that more fun to write for, or made it more of a challenge to write for. But I got to tell you, Beast, I love me some Beast. His eloquence, his intelligence, and, you know, being a girl. Oh, the damaged romantic poet soul he had. Oh my God. And a thing I didn't realize until recently, and I'm embarrassed, before I was born, Star Trek. I get entered fangirlism with Star Trek, the original series, and it wasn't until recently it's like, wait, Dr. Leonard McCoy, wait, Dr. Hank McCoy. Oh my God! I've been in love with Dr. McCoy my whole life, and I didn't know it. But,
Two of them.
Yeah. What are the odds? But yeah, Beast was my favorite to write for.
Yeah, in my case, it was probably, of all people, this is not necessarily a fan favorite, but for me was Professor Xavier, because I had a dozen writers working for me, and we're trying to make, you know, off and on. They'd come in, they'd leave, they'd do a script, they'd go. And together we all had to try to, you know, talk to each other and make this stupid, difficult thing work. So I felt like the dad with all the X-Men around me, and so I think I sympathized most with Xavier.
Luckily, you didn't take that vacation to the tropics.
No, that was.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's so hard. I think, because a lot of people love Morph, were you surprised that, because that's not even a character from the original books, I know.
Yeah, what's the quick morph story?
You want the morph story.
Yeah,
He's got the morph story.
The entire, we went to, because, you know, it was kids television, and in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, it was kind of restricted, and you couldn't do a lot of stuff. You couldn't hurt people. You couldn't threaten people. You certainly couldn't kill anybody. And so, but a couple of, Will Mineo and Larry Houston, the two major fanboy producer directors that worked with me, and I went to the network and said, guys, we got to make the X-Men seem real to the audience. We got to make the be consequences. So we want, in the opening episode, to kill somebody off, like in it, like these, you know, the Star Trek guy with the red jersey. Somebody has to die to begin. And it took about a month of arguing with them. They finally said, okay, you can do it. And so we looked back through, I had some reference materials because I didn't know the books that well, and found a character who had actually sacrificed his life for Charles Xavier. His name Changeling, and he was a shapeshifter. Okay, fine. So we wrote the pilot scripts with Changeling as being an X-Men and Changeling dying, and we purposefully made him as sympathetic and nice and funny and lovable as we could because we wanted Wolverine, everybody to grieve when they lost them. And so I said, we did too good a job. And so we did it, and we did the show. And by the way, he became Morph because there was a DC character named Changeling, and the lawyers said, you can't, you know, we might get in trouble, you shouldn't, but...
Because Marvel had the character Changeling.
They had it first,
DC
but lawyers are silly people, and so they said, don't take the risk. So we changed his name to Morph, but he was based on the Marvel character Changeling, and made a little sillier and wilder by us. And so we set him up, we made him lovable, we killed him, and this is really important to us. And then after the first season was over, and when the first season showed, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes, they did a focus group with a bunch of kids. Said, who's your favorite X-Men character? And Morph won. So in between seasons, we were sure he was gone. He was dead. He took one for the team. He was, but the network came to us and said, guys, we know how much this meant to you, but could you please find a way to bring him back? You killed him off screen. You know, you can let him survive. They do it in comic books all the time. And we said, okay, and we were really pissed. But then we ended up really liking the way it worked out. So we had the best of both.
The way you were able to use his power as a way for him to come back, as if he never had left, it was very like, it's a shame when you see like a power not even like used in the right way.
Yeah. And
to see that the thought like put behind it is very appreciative. Otherwise, there's no reason to have that power. Like, at least for me, I don't know. Everyone is going insane about the Morph talk. What was your favorite?
Rogue is my favorite. She's really tough. I think that she's an awesome example of how to have a sexy character design without a bunch of skin showing. Her power is insanely impressive. I like the whole fact that she can't touch anybody. It makes her really interesting. It's definitely Rogue for me. I love her. On the animated series, that's my favorite version of Rogue.
You know, if they changed any of the powers, if Wolverine were unable to touch people, he'd be clam happy. He'd be fine with that. And it's that for Rogue with this immense power, but with who she is, the fact that being unable to touch somebody, once you start digging into that, that's pretty heavy duty, and I think it was played out very interestingly in her character.
Yeah, it was. In fact, we didn't know, as I said, the two main writers and I didn't know the books that well, and so the first season we were trying to think, well, what would be a big question for a mutant? And it's, okay, well, what if there's a cure possible? So okay, we thought, okay, let's do a cure story. Well, who among all of them would be the most tempted? Because leaving the X-Men is a big deal. You're leaving your family. You're turning your back on your essence. And Rogue's problem is so dire. It's such a tough personal problem that we thought she'd be the most believable one that would be tempted to maybe go. She ends up not. She ends up saying, no, I'm not going to go. But the audience believes she'd be tempted because she's in such a tough spot.
Yeah, and I think that having her have such a big power, like she's super strong, arguably OP, but like to have her have another side to that where there's like a downfall to it as well kind of balances it out too.
Yeah.
Well, there's the fact that she had, not only is she hurting people, but she has these people in her head, and the way that like the whole Miss Marvel tie-in was brilliant because your cast is so immense. I have learned about so many characters because of this show. Like, I would have never realized there was Murlocs or the Randy Boys, or am I messing that up? But
the Nasty Boys, I think.
Nasty Boys, that's what it was. I was gonna say Beastie Boys.
Randy Boys
yeah.
would be more fun.
But it's cool.
And
Sauron's my favorite.
if you go through the episodes with a sharp eye, Larry Houston, whom Eric's mentioned, producer,
Director, yeah.
and artist. We are strictly on the writing side of things. We can't draw lick, but these guys are amazing. And Larry Houston was a big Marvel fanboy coming into this project to begin with. And if you go through with a sharp eye, you can see all kinds of Easter eggs. There are all kinds of other Marvel characters that aren't necessarily even involved in the episode, even named in the episode. And
in the background.
Right. Even in the opening title sequence, when the two sides are running to slam into each other at the very end, that was Larry and Will putting in some extra Marvel characters that they wanted to see, whether or not they'd ever make it to the series or not.
It's funny you brought up that sequence with them running at each other. We put up a little poll. We found out that the guy who did the X-Men theme and the Power Rangers theme,
yes.
Ron
Wasserman.
Yes. Well, he did both. So we put a poll, which one gets you more pumped, and X-Men the Animated Series won, I think, like 71% to 29%.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh man.
Awesome theme, and I love that credits the whole. It's so memorable.
The sequence is really good.
Yeah. Just what this is the plug for the book that's coming up the end of next summer that I've been working on for a couple of years about the making of the show. But the title sequence started out being very different. It was going to be just a narration. And the first choice that Fox Network made was Stan Lee just talking to the audience, to the camera for 45 seconds. And then we talked through that, and that didn't work. And then it was going to be maybe a voiceover talking about, these are the X-Men, which might have been a little cheesy. And luckily, Will and Larry, these two guys have been talking about, these crazy guys, these wonderful fanboys, just said, look, the best thing is to, you're worried about them catching all these characters because there's so many. Let us feature the characters and let the characters act in the title. And finally, they agreed to that. And so I can't take any credit for the title. Those two guys did it. And they pushed Ron. They pushed Ron to do like 20 versions of the music until it was just right.
Well,
It worked out good.
It worked. Yeah, everyone's been saying it's stuck in their head all day. So
yeah. Another quick shout out. I don't know if you guys saw Janine online. She was the one who did the cool storm effect over her picture.
Yes.
She's in that here. She said Storm was rare. Is her favorite because it was rare to see characters who looked like her, who were leaders, and she loved episodes of her fighting through her claustrophobia.
I was the one who got to write Whatever It Takes, an episode in season 2 where Storm goes back and deals with that there. But I'm so glad to hear that you like that. And I'll always say, hey, if you really pay attention, the strongest X-Men are the women. No one waves a flag. No one's saying, oh, Wolverine, woo. But Storm, Jean Grey, and Rogue, they can fly.
We have another girl who's a regular on the show, Candace, also cosplays as Storm. So she's definitely the beloved character amongst our group for sure.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that.
all right, so let's get into the second question. Our friend Delisha at Delisha_Renee asks, what character do you think had the best story arc?
Now I'm going to jump in if we're talking just over the course of a season.
Or just within the series.
Or within the course of the series. I'll go with, and this is an easy answer, this is easy because it's quick, but it may not be the best one. but Beast in the first season, because he was not supposed to be a main character in the X-Men team, but Eric and the rest of the writers, this is a good character. So rather than kind of, well, okay, we got to write him off because all the higher-ups are saying we need to do that. No, if we can remove him from the show centrally and have a good excuse for that, then and bring him back around, he became this, to me, brilliant civil disobedience figure. And I thought it turned out to be so beautifully played out. And in the course of visiting with him and going to meet him and folks visiting him in jail, learning more about him and hearing from him and an actual dialogue about why he felt he needed to be where he was and remain where he was until he had his day in court. That's kind of cool.
He was very much like a Nelson Mandela or a Gandhi like figure, and I even love the fact that the arc opens with him like reading Animal Farm. As a child, I would have no idea. Back, I'm like, oh my God, that's so relevant.
Yeah, well, we tried to, we were all, adults in our 30s, and we were all trying to have fun. And that's one way you keep the energy up, is to say, well, what kind of cool little things can you do to delight yourself and delight your friends? And when I was younger, when I was a kid, I liked watching really older, sophisticated stuff. I mean, there's stuff in Warner Brothers cartoons and other cartoons that just, you don't get until you're an adult. But it doesn't matter. I mean, the people making them are having so much fun that it just bursts through. And we tried to do that with Beast and all the little references and the obscure literary references were just something I decided to do the first episode, because he didn't have a call to action. The X-Men didn't have a call to action. I thought, well, maybe Beast quotes an obscure poet. How weird would that be? And it took, and all the writers liked the idea. So they all tried to come up with, situations where it would be reasonable for him to quote somebody. So yeah, that just kind of grew as the series went. Oh, so anyway, on the arc.
What was that?
I was just saying, on the arc, I'm not sure. Most of the characters stayed fairly much the same for me over the series. Jubilee kind of has the biggest arc, because she starts out having no clue what this whole world's about, and by episode 13 she's earned her way onto the team, and so she really grows up more and changes more than just about anybody.
I think we both have the same answer.
Yeah.
It's definitely Jean Grey for us. To see, because compared to the other characters at first glance, I don't feel like Jean Grey had that much going on. Like at first she felt like one of the blander characters.
She's powerful.
Oh, she's definitely powerful, but like next to Xavier, it's almost but then you realize why she's there, and like she breaks my heart with Wolverine. We were talking about it before, but
I'm a diehard like Wolverine and Jean Grey shipper, and that's like a painful place to live,
Yeah.
So we're watching it. I don't remember which one it was, but it was the one with it was the one with the Murlocs and the Scorpions. And he's, oh my God, that was the worst one. Then he ended up leaving after that, I think. But
yeah, and the whole Dark Phoenix saga and everything it's just so good.
That's one of the things that translated the best to the X-Men films, though, was that whole dynamic between Cyclops and Wolverine over Jean.
Yeah, that for sure.
Yeah. And I'm not sure, but I don't think they did it that much in the books before the series. They did hinted at it a little bit, but it was a natural for us to have that romantic triangle, and push it as hard as we could, because it let, since it was a show for kids, we can't show what you can show in an R-rated movie, so you had to make the emotions more intense, and we just grabbed at every chance we got.
It worked, and then, but just to see her to turn from that into this threat, like I never expected her to be the big bad.
Yeah.
Which it was almost like I mistrusted you guys for a second, because I'm like, she was supposed to be one of the good guys. What happened? I'm 8. Like, so it was cool to be exposed to that like sort of storytelling so early. And I was thinking about it the other day, like, I don't think I've heard a collection of so many accents in a show before. Shakespeare show, which was really
diverse show.
really interesting when I was a kid, because otherwise, when would I hear a German accent unless I ran into a German? The German population up here is not big, so I wouldn't. But that was one of the biggest things I loved about X-Men. I'm just gonna keep throwing random facts at you guys, apparently.
Did you maybe want to ask them a fan question before we get to the third one? I know you had.
Yeah, there's. You know what? We mentioned the movies a second ago, and our producer Joe at the Tough Channel. Jack, I'm sorry. Sorry, Joe was right.
Joe.
Our producer Jack at the Tough Channel was wondering if you liked how the X-Men characters were portrayed in the films.
I'm going to jump in again. I seem to be leading off on all of these.
Go ahead.
Okay. To get to that question, I'm going to go back to a thing that I've sort of been beating my drum over. X-Men, the comic books, were around for 25, 30 years before X-Men, the animated series, sprang into existence. And when it came down to picking out, well, which X-Men out of these 30 years of material do you choose to go forward with, and the specific team that then became X-Men, the animated series, there was serious gratification that was the team that moved on into the big budget films, that they did not, oh, well, we're going to reboot this, we're going to start fresh, we're going to go. No, they chose the same characters that we had chosen, and worked hard to crush a lot of story into a very little amount of time. With something like a 5-year series, you've got X amount of episodes that really allow you to come up with moments that can break your heart with Wolverine and with Logan and Jean, or and that's really hard to kind of convey. You've earned the goodwill of the audience by doing this over time. Tom, I think I saw that you were a Logan Storm person, a Logan Storm fan. That's me all over. But
Sorry, the alarm's going off. He's trying to shut it off real quick. Here he goes.
Yes, I believe
at that point it was like they earned it.
I remember in the comics specifically, like it was right after he got the adamantium, I think, ripped out of him, and he was becoming more feral, and I think that's when I remember him and Storm being a thing. But then it was accented even more when that episode happened, where I think it was the Age of Apocalypse. I'm trying to remember exactly. I just retweeted it. The exact episode it was, but
in the TV show, it was One Man's Worth, where there's an alternative future, and it's what would happen if Xavier were assassinated as a 20-year-old, and so they have to give up their love to save the world, which is a pretty heavy thing. And Wolverine says, "Hell no, I'm not going to do it," and she talks him into it.
And that's one of those things where, oh my God, it was right there in front of my eyes the whole time that these two could be a couple. And seeing the parallel universe where they're allowed to be a couple, it's like, boom! That to me was a true tragic romance.
Yeah. And back to the movies, which I think it's been a mixed bag. I think they've done some incredibly cool stuff. Most of the casting's wonderful. When we wrote notes to the voice people looking for actors for our show
in 1992,
in February 1992. We wrote down, let's see, for Professor Xavier, could it be somebody who sounds like Patrick Stewart? Stuff like that, so spot on.
Because he was doing Star Trek.
He was doing Next Generation.
It's like,
and so somebody that's that good, and we just thought, oh well, that's just kind of a dream to get people. So we dreamed high, and I think they did a marvelous job. I don't think they've figured out quite how to use Storm very well in 6 or 7 movies.
You gotta love that beast, though.
Kelsey Grammer beast.
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer. Yeah, everybody, Kelsey Grammer.
I saw that.
It's perfect. So there's been a mixture. Some of them have just really pleased us. I think sometimes we worked really, really hard with Marvel and with our friends that were fans to get the history right and get the powers right and get the personalities right. And sometimes in the movies, they just kind of throw stuff in that, you know, our kids stand up in the theater and say, hey, wait a minute, you know, Juggernaut's not Australian. What the hell are you doing? They just, there's some things that they've chosen to change or not, or do differently than, you know, we would have been done in their place. But it's such a challenge to put together a $100 million movie. And you've got so many people. I mean, that's one of the tough things about doing TV shows. We've done dozens of TV shows, and 8 out of 10 of them, various creative people get involved that end up making it not what it could have been. And you don't have any control over that. You just, luck of the draw on X-Men, we all fought to keep it a certain way, and everybody ended up shaking hands saying, yeah, that's what we want to do, and it worked. But most of the time out here, things don't work out as well as you hope. And so the fact that some of the movies have really cool stuff in them, and so, you know, that balances out the stuff that, oh, you know, they missed an opportunity, or, you know, they did this in a way different. In the book, I'm going to talk about Days of Future Past because, you know, the way Julia, I think it was Bob.
Yes, and Marty Eisenberg.
And Marty Eisenberg, the way we looked at the books, adjusted it for TV, for what would then be like a 44-minute version for TV, and then what they did for the 120-minute version for the movies, and why we made our choices and the ones we think that didn't quite work as well in the movie. There's some incredibly cool stuff in the movie, but we ended up liking our choices better overall. So, and I mean, it was close, but and you know, you started with the books. I mean, that's a hard thing to. Each one is a different craft, and I don't know that I could write a decent comic book if my life depended on it, just because I've never done it. I've never proved it. And same thing happens for comic book writers. Some of them try to write TV, and they don't quite get the form. And same thing could be said for feature writers. You know, each of the three, a feature movie writer possibly wouldn't know how to write a comic or a TV episode either. So each one has its challenges, and I give them credit for continuing to, you know, bust their ass to make as good a movies as they can. And I try not to be too critical, even if they do stuff I wouldn't have done.
My other part
there's a agreement with you over Storm in the chat here. And Joe said that Grace Jones would have been his dream Storm for the movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, she'd be great.
Our friend Dubbed too said that Wolverine shouldn't be 6 foot and so good looking, but our friend Sam, who is from Australia, says that there's nothing wrong with 6 foot good looking Australians. So there's some controversy over the choice.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, while we're talking about movies, TJ Dex, another follower of the show, he asked, there's rumors of Gambit, the solo movie, coming in and out of production. Is there a dream solo X-Men movie that you would have?
We were talking about that earlier, and a big challenge is coming up, picking a character that has the kind of conflict that Wolverine, if we're saying, okay, everyone here on X-Men is a mutant, okay, so that is something that happens. It's like going through puberty. This just happens to you, and this is how it ends up. But Wolverine was taken, and bad people did awful stuff to him. So he's not only is he fighting his own, you know, rage at being a person who's got this mutation, but he has a physical, legitimate group of people to be really pissed at for what they did to him. I don't know. I mean, I think any character could support a story, but as much as I think Storm is one of top, well, I said Beast, but for Storm you need to set up who she's going, what her conflict's going to be. And sometimes in the movies, they don't give it enough time to set that up.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the natural kind of conflict that just happened to be Wolverine's story.
And I thought about this a lot when I got the message, because my knee-jerk reaction was, gee, I don't know if I can think of anybody. I mean, much as I'm really looking forward to the Logan movie. I love the trailer. I just thought, oh, this is great. This could be the best one ever.
That song's so good for him.
Yeah. All the emotions coming through in that movie, that trailer. If the movie's half as good, it's going to be great. But I thought, you know, really, I can't, what worked for me in the X-Men was how much was their interaction with each other. And imagining them just one by themselves, even the Logan movie the trailer wouldn't have been a third as good if Charles Xavier hadn't been there. I'm so aware of what they've meant to each other for me for 76 episodes, and then for all the movies, and for 50 years of the book, or 35 years of the book, because it came later, that there's a resonance there between them. And so if you just took one of the characters, you'd have to build all that stuff that's going on. So to answer your question, versus imagine, think about the Avengers. They were all individual heroes that had individual stories, and they're just kind of thrown together, and they work okay, as a team, although they're kind of reluctant. And I thought Joss Whedon did an amazing job, especially in the first movie, getting them together and functioning for a short while before they all said screw you and all left and went back to being individuals. Well, I got to know all of them as individuals, and I got to know the X-Men as a family to start with. And so I just, honestly, I can't imagine just one of them. It just would kind of have ruined it for me if it was just one of their stories. And so yeah, I can't do it. I don't have the imagination.
But if they do Gambit, I would go either Taylor. I'd go Taylor Kitsch or Channing Tatum. That works for me. Either one of those gentlemen would. Hey.
Yeah, we'd go see what they did with it.
Nice.
There was some comments about Storm. Our buddy Joe was hoping for a Storm versus Shadow King. Maybe it would be really cool to see her back home.
Well, okay, that's legit.
I think Africa would have to be the focus for her, and then he'd have to be there. And he actually worked out really well in Julia's story, and just that was he's a nice bad guy to have in animation, because you set up this weird other universe that he's floating around in, and the artist could just go crazy and then have fun and make it look very comic booky. So he worked really well in animation.
That'd be a good one.
Eric Monroe in the chat was also saying that the Savage Land arc could be a cool movie with Charles and Magneto.
Yeah. If I tell how that all came to be, and in fact, I was thinking the one group besides the Wolverine, when you said it's going to be a single show, I think I'd pay to see an Xavier Magneto two-hand story, and I'd go for that in a minute. But so the reason we did that, and it was absolutely calculated, was the first season, it was connected story, beginning 13 in a row that started with the Sentinels problem, grew to something, and then resolved in episode 13. And there were production problems and delays setting up a new show, and so it cost the network a lot of money. And they never ever let animation be connected like that because of the possibility of delays. Well, what if episode 6 is delayed 2 months? Well, you can't show 7, 8, 9, and 10, can you? Because 6 is not there. So they told us after the first season, no more connected. You can do 2-parters or 3-parters or something, but we want standalone episodes, like a Law and Order episode or something. So we cheated. It was on the website a couple days ago. We had the opening 2-parter where by the end of it, Xavier and Magneto are captured in Savage Land. They've been tricked into going there. And then 12 and 13 at the end of the season, they're rescued by the other X-Men. And the 9 episodes in between were supposed to be standalones, and they were just kind of standalone episodes. But we put about a minute of, let's check out on the guys in Savage Land, see how they're doing, as a connection, so that for the audience it would seem like the whole 13 were connected. Even though I threw down a challenge the other day on the website saying, I think you could probably mix and match the 9 in between and move them around, and the 13 would still make sense. You begin with 2 and you end with 2, and the 9 in the middle are kind of move aroundable, which made Fox happy. I don't know if they knew how much we were cheating, but it sounded okay to them, and we got away with it. But you're right. What we did was, I just wrote out the whole. I told the writers that were doing individual episodes, leave a minute and a half in the script. I just put a blank and put Savage Land here, and then write your story around it, and I'll just pop it in. You know, I'll give you 90 seconds of Savage Land stuff from this arc that I'm writing on the side. So that was absolutely planned that way.
It always, like, it was cool that the show kind of ended on 2 cliffhangers, because your show also was, or the X-Men animated series was one of the first ones that I was like, I'd watch, and then it'd be like a to be continued showed up, and I'm like, what is this? Like, I'm 8, man.
We were warned about.
Were they?
I said we were warned about that.
They all loved that show.
Yeah.
Well, when you were itty bitty, water cooler. That was your water cooler. Was, you know, or must see TV.
Oh, hello, Dad.
See, it's multi-generational. My dad just came into the chat.
So for my solo X-Men film, if I had to do one, I loved what they were able to accomplish with Alan Cummings' Nightcrawler in X-Men 2. I thought it was a beautiful sequence, and I really just want to see him with his swords. I don't care if it's him being a pirate. Like, I just want to see a solo movie where it's like Jumper, but with swords.
That'd be very cool.
What about you?
For what?
The solo X-Men movie.
I don't know. I like his answer so much that they work together as a team, and I know them as a team, and I liked that. I thought that was great. Our next question was sent to us by Ashley, who's in the chat right now at that Mrs. Davis on Twitter, that _Mrs. Davis. She says, which character do you wish had a cameo on X-Men the Animated Series?
That's a vast landscape to pick from, but that's kind of, and my knowledge is kind of limited. I don't have as deep or broad as most people, but there's one obscure character. Well, maybe she's not obscure, but I always thought the character Vertigo would be. That's like the one character who doesn't show up most places, because that's the most powerful character. I've had migraines. I've been nauseous. You are out if someone can do that to you, make you. So I just think that could be an interesting thing to see what that would actually do, because I have not seen that played out. But yeah, so I vote Vertigo. Hi, Ashley. Hello. Because I'm on Twitter. Hello.
They're on Twitter a lot together.
Vertigo would also be her choice, so that's awesome.
Ah, you're kidding. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's hard for, again, I'm giving you a non-answer answer. It's hard because our first job when we brought in guest people was not necessarily to make them special, but to reveal something about one of our lead characters through them, like bringing in Cyclops' father. That was a big deal for Scott, more than me being excited about him. You know, he was okay, but it was a huge deal for Scott. So I tended to think of guest characters in terms of what they would reveal about the people already are in the show. You know, as far as who would guest, it would be, you know, somebody like that, like, say, Rogue's. Remember when Rogue's boyfriend showed up late, like in the 4th season, and there were these aliens that were possessing people and doing all this nasty stuff. So there's all a spectacle there, but the heart of the show was Rogue meets this guy, the first one that she ever fell for, the first one she ever kissed, and could never touch again, and now she can touch him, and all this stuff's going wrong, and he's saying, but we can be together, but we can be together. So I don't even remember his name off the top of my head, but he was such an important character for her that he was a vibrant character for me. The one X-Men character that did that, I think, best was Nightcrawler, in that he came in as this full-blown character that just took over a show, which we don't usually let the guest people do. But at the same time, he pulled out all this stuff out of Wolverine that you didn't know was in there. So again, we brought him in to affect Wolverine, but he was such a vibrant character and he had such a cool backstory that he became the star of that show. And that's not something we let very on.
Relationship with Mystique, I wasn't expecting that at all either.
Yeah, that's other. Boy, Marvel, keeping the Marvel universe straight is not easy.
Especially because you already had that, like, faux mother-daughter thing going on with Rogue earlier in the series, so it was almost like, is she lying this time? Like, that's the cool thing about Mystique is you're always guessing what her
always on your toes.
Yeah, she's a mystery. I wonder how we. My pick for this, and I know that at the time it was a competing show on the UPN, but I would have to say The Incredible Hulk, only because that was Wolverine's introduction into the comic book, was that issue of Incredible Hulk. And the man responsible for the pencil and writing that issue, Herb Trimp, grew up in this area, and he taught art 40 minutes away from my high school. I was so mad when I found out. I'm like, I could have learned art from Herb Trimp. Like, it broke me. But unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago. But I would have loved to see that in the animated series, that relationship translate, like having that like history between them.
But it's just you know, one of the other guys involved in that Hulk Wolverine Genesis, Len Wein, who ended up writing for us for 4 episodes. When he was asked of all, because he was Marvel editor-in-chief for a while, he'd written on 20 different books, which book was his favorite? He was the one in charge of rebooting the X-Men in 1975. They'd been gone for 5 years, and he got it started, then he was made editor-in-chief. They handed it off to Claremont and Byrne to really build it into what the X-Men became. And so I asked him, well, look, you're responsible for all these characters, Wolverine, and he was a Storm co-creator. He did a lot of good stuff. And he said, well, of all the books, my favorite to write was the Hulk. And that was just it. He somehow, that character touched him inside in the way no one others did. And he said if he had his druthers, he'd just keep writing those. So that you got a fan there. The co-creative Wolverine would pick the Hulk as a guest.
Nice. I always thought Beast was like a warped reflection of the Hulk, on like how they're both monsters, but it's the way they can embrace each other through their intelligence and self-awareness.
Yeah.
So that would have been interesting too, just to see Big Blue fight Big Green. But...
Yeah, nice.
What about you?
I am going to cheat because I know that he definitely made an appearance on the show, but I'm going to say more Doctor Strange would have been cool. I'm a huge Vincent Price fan, and I know that Doctor Strange's look is definitely inspired by Vincent Price. Also, I'm a huge Benedict Cumberbatch fan, so I have nothing but reasons to have love for Doctor Strange, and I think it would have been cool to see him a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, he was actually in our show as just a couple little bits because, again, Larry Houston, he put in just bits about, mutants around the world are upset when this big world crisis was happening, and he had a second half of Doctor Strange there, but that was about as much as Marvel was. Companies are odd about what they'll let you use and not let you use. And we wanted to put even more guest characters in, but they just said no.
We were just going through some boxes, and you found the 2 Deadpool.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you have, but Deadpool came out as a comic book the year that we were doing the first season. Oh, there you go.
I just caught that.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't see that. To see the bottom of the shirt. And so when Xavier was having some sort of nightmare sequence in a subway, Larry Houston said, "Oh, here's a new character that they just started in the comics. I'll throw him in." And so Deadpool's first appearance was in a Professor Xavier nightmare sequence. So
as a cameo,
which is a fun tidbit.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool, and it's just funny how like he started as a parody of oh my god, Deathstroke. Wow, yeah, Deadpool. So and it's even funnier now because DC has made a parody of Deadpool called Deadtool, or it's Red Tool. So they're just go back and forth now. So that's pretty funny. I was gonna insert some other extra. Oh, you want to do the 4th one and then do the rest of these?
Yeah, just because we're running.
Yeah, time is running up, and we don't want to take up.
Janine in the chat at Janine Devine asked, "Who is the best villain from the animated series?"
Well, I could tell you who my favorite voice was. Apocalypse. There's a Canadian actor named John Colicos who did it, and he was wonderful. He's since passed. He's been dead about 10 years now. And I didn't realize this when we were recording, because we were recording in Canada. All the voices were in Toronto, Canada. And they picked like some of the most theatrical, fascinating voices in all of Canada for the show, and I give them credit for doing it. And John was the first Klingon. If you ever saw the original Star Trek series, I think it was season 2, he shows up and he and Kirk are fighting above this peaceful planet, and they both are furious and impatient with the peaceful people on the planet. And that's John Colicos as Kur, the Klingon commander, and it's the first Klingon ever in Star Trek, and he was our Apocalypse, and his voice is just magic to me. So I can't get past that. I think Magneto maybe has a more interesting life, but that voice is my touchstone.
Very cool.
I'll go with that. I'll toss in Shadow King just because that, realizing that right now and thinking, yeah, that would be a good movie. Storm and Shadow King back together. But yeah, the Apocalypse. And just a quick shout out to everyone who was involved in the voice talent on the series. I promise there's a generation of people. You read something and it's, oh, Wolverine says, you hear the voice of Cal Dodd in your head. You hear the voice of John Colicos in your head. These are the voices that define those characters. Even, hey, we've got Hugh Jackman. I'm not going to complain, but in terms of what I hear in my head when I read something that's in Wolverine's voice, I hear the voice of Cal Dodd and everybody else in the show.
Joe in the chat brought up my favorite villain, and that's Mr. Sinister. That dude was scary. The shadow always hit him just right. That you were like, it felt like Nosferatu, like the way the shadow played with him all the time. And half the time, like, I was young, and I felt like when I rewatched it, I got more what his motives was. But I was younger, he was just like an enigma that, like, he would just show up, and I'm like, oh well, here we go. Now they might lose.
Keep it short so that we can maybe squeeze in a couple of questions that people sent in from you guys. But my personal favorite is going to be Sabretooth. I love Wolverine, as I said. Sabretooth just is like the bad Wolverine, kind of, and he just had a lot of personality, and he was a super fun one. So Sabretooth.
Yeah, like how the Doctor Master Wolverine has Sabretooth. All right, so we're going to try to squeeze some more in here. Our buddy Brian, who couldn't make it tonight, but he's on our channel at the show, The DVD Bunker, at Hercules. He asks, are you aware of any newer X-Men stories that you would have liked to adapt into the series if you had the chance? Or were there any stories you didn't get a chance to?
That's a good question, and the dark secret is when the show was starting, when it began in '92, there was such a separation of what was going on at Fox Kids and Saban Entertainment and Marvel in Los Angeles versus what was happening at Marvel headquarters on the East Coast. And I'll embarrass myself by saying this, when Eric had to get up to speed on the comic books to get up to speed for the sake of the show, this was in the days before trade paperbacks were available for series runs of books.
It was before the web.
It was before the web. So someone in Marvel headquarters had to photocopy comic books and then put them in an envelope and ship them to you.
And snail mail them to us.
So we didn't have access to the vast universe of
we had to figure this out. But again, to answer your question about books that we might have gotten, there was this perfect combination on our show of those people involved in the show, like Larry and Will, who knew the books backwards and forwards, and will probably know the books since that backwards and forwards, and had an abiding love for the X-Men. And those of us that were just, oh my God, let's make the best stories we can, but we don't. I haven't been able to follow the books that much since. We've been busy doing other shows, and I read comic books when I was younger, when I was a teenager, but I hadn't even read the X-Men that much. So I can't, it's something that if Larry or Will were here, they probably have a list of all sorts of cool stories that they'd want to have to adapt it from the books. But those of us that were picking the stories, we're just looking through for cool character moments, and we didn't really have favorite episodes. Like I hadn't read Days of Future Past before we were said, oh, you're going to be adapting it. So I just learned, oh, thank God, it's a great story. But they didn't cut. A number of the writers were big fans, and so if, say, 20 of the 76 episodes were specific books that we adapted, they came from the writers saying, I love this episode, this book, let's make an episode. But none of that came, sadly, none of that came from me. So I'm a bad person to ask that.
But I will say, my heart is breaking today as I think I'm seeing Marvel kind of wrap up the X-Men in terms of the whole character universe for them and replace them. Not replace them, but bring in another set of the Inhumans, you know, and it's like, oh.
They talk about that. They just announced, too, that they may have figured out a way to trade characters between Fox and Marvel to where that's not going to have to be a thing.
Oh, that'd be so great.
Like somebody in the chat mentioned, like a great way maybe would be introduce Storm and Black Panther together and get that storyline together.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, so I feel like they're definitely going to try, and with the timing of Black Panther's casting, it kind of seems appropriate. And if that's who, Bass is playing the mom. Yeah. I'm excited for that. But I don't know where I was going with that.
Why don't you ask one more?
Yeah, one more.
To go because we have like a million callers.
Yeah, I'm gonna address the elephant in the chat room because Jack's not gonna let it go. What happened with Kitty Pryde?
Ah! Oh, you want a Kitty Pryde story? We got a Kitty Pryde story.
It's really easy. It's not very involved. I'll let him get back before we continue.
But there he is.
Yeah. Just you guys know that in '89 they did that one-off Kitty Pryde, and what that was Margaret Lesh, the lady that made this all possible.
Yeah.
Our wonderful boss at Fox. She had worked at Marvel Productions and she's got a lot of interview in the book. So if you like hearing about this, you'll hear more there. But she, for 6 or 7 years, worked in Marvel Productions, and they couldn't sell any Marvel properties. They put on, I forget what shows they did. They did a bunch of successful shows, but none of them were Marvel characters because the three big networks, and it used to just be CBS, NBC, and ABC, they had 95% of TV. It's hard to imagine. There's 3 channels.
Fox didn't exist. None of them were interested in Marvel characters or really in comic book characters. They said, there aren't that many comic book people. We need a lot more bigger audience than that. This will never sell. But Margaret really liked the characters. She liked Stan. She fell for the X-Men. She worked on, I think it was a Hulk show or a Fantastic Four, whatever. She was pushing them. And she actually produced that Kitty Pryde show with some of the people we ended up using on our show as a sales tool to get a series going. And she snuck some money off of another show. I forget which it was. Oh, God. Maybe
to throw it together and do this. And unfortunately, I don't know if you've seen that. The Kitty Pryde
Pride of the X-Men.
They just kind of threw a bunch of stuff together, and again, too many cooks spoiling the broth, too many characters, too much going on, to where it kind of swamped the story for me. And also,
I got to jump in here.
And Wolverine,
when that came out, Crocodile Dundee was a big hit, and it's like, oh well, make Wolverine Australian. It's like, seriously, that was the logic.
That's the kind of decision Hollywood people, creative people or business people force on the creative people. Anyway, it didn't fly. So when 2 years later, she's now the head of this new network kids department, and she gets together enough money to make a modest budget version of the X-Men. They were kind of burned with that. And so they asked Marvel, okay, we want to have a teenage girl. And they said, well, we didn't think, let's not do Kitty Pryde because she didn't work out in '89. It was real simple. It was not like everybody loved Jubilee more than Kitty Pryde. And as far as I was concerned, I just wanted to make sure that there was a balance on the show, a variety of characters that didn't duplicate each other. So it didn't affect me. There may have been people involved that really liked one better than the other, but it was absolutely because the '89 show didn't work. Her name was on it. You go with the different teenage girl.
And you have the different teenage girl coming into it to be the audience's way into this universe of X-Men.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was why they needed a character there anyway.
That's the entire reason.
Well, now Jack has his answer. Jubilee stole Kitty Pryde from him. He's had a crush for decades now. So. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Thank you so much for coming on and answering these questions and spending some time with us.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate this.
Yeah, man, the show meant a lot to us.
It really did.
And so it's good to see people still watching.
Of course.
Thank you. Did you want to re-plug your stuff real quick for anyone who didn't catch it earlier?
Just in case, I'm thrilled to have heard that some of you who follow us on Twitter were in the chat room tonight, but we are on Twitter at XMEN TAS, or X-Men the Animated Series, and online at XMENTAS.com, where Eric posts almost daily a blog about behind the scenes. And once we figure out how to link to this, we'll link your podcast onto the X-Men TAS website too, so folks can come back and keep finding this as well. And unbelievably, I still can't believe I was old enough to, or even alive when it happened, but it has been 25 years since X-Men, the animated series, has played. And we were looking at our calendars going, well, golly, no, because Marvel went through its bankruptcy right at that time, rights got chewed up into a bunch of different places. And Star Trek has the support of Paramount. Batman has the support of Warner Brothers. X-Men animated series is kind of falling through the cracks. So we sort of took it upon ourselves to say, well, hey, our 25th anniversary is coming up. There are folks who still express interest in the series, and we really haven't had a chance to talk about it before. The good news is, on the work front, we continue to remain busy in animation and TV writing, so that's been a lot of fun. But Eric's taken some time and we happen to have the boxes with all the scripts, all the storyboards, all the internal memos,
all the angry memos,
all the angry memos, all the photocopies, all the receipts from CVS Pharmacy, where we would have to drive to use a fax machine to reach New York, because that was in the day when fax machine, oh my God, that's brand new technology. You don't know how primitive it was. You don't know. So Eric is now writing a book about the making of X-Men the Animated Series. And we hope to have that out. Well,
it'll be out late next summer, and we hope to have it at, if not at Comic-Con, certainly at the Toronto Con in September, where all the cast lives.
And we hope to get a chance to go out and meet more people at more cons, specifically with this 25-year rollout.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do a couple of months for as long as people want us to keep bringing the book. So.
And this February we'll be in San Diego at San Diego Comic Fest for 17th to the 20th with Larry Houston, speaking specifically, sort of kicking off the 25th anniversary discussion.
Yeah. It's a little early. I mean,
yeah, it is.
It didn't show till Halloween was the sneak preview in '92, but.
And then you had to wait till January '93 to see the rest of the episodes. Yeah.
You had some angry people saying, "Well, how dare you show us a little in October, November, and then not hold it till January?" Yeah, but it was best they could.
Well, once we find out when that book comes out, we'll definitely have to secure a copy and do a giveaway, because I'm sure one of us are definitely gonna be on here.
Yeah, everyone is sending their love in the chat. They're just thanking you guys for working on the show that we all love so much, and also for stopping by and answering their questions tonight. It means a lot to everybody. Anything else?
Yes, there were two very nice tweets, and I want to, because they were worded much better than I could have worded them, so I want to give them a little credit.
They were just nice messages, right?
Yes. One of them is from our friend Nolan, who is actually in Cyprus right now. So it's a little past his bedtime, so I wasn't able to make it. But he asked me, man, technology,
I can drive to the CVS and fax something for
Yeah,
you.
right? I might need it. Essentially, I'm going to paraphrase it because he said that your show was very influential on him, and he's gone into writing because of it, and as well as voice acting. So he follows you, and he loves all of your posts, and he loves you guys.
Aww.
And then I know there was another tweet, and I'm pretty sure you guys saw it because I think I saw you react to it, but another new person to our Twitter stated that he loves the fact that he has something to watch with his girls now. So you mean a lot to all of us.
Oh, and can I just, I'm going to toss this in as we wrap up. And guys, I've enjoyed this so much. This has been so nice to get a chance to talk to you. Country is in a real divided place right now. Things have gotten kind of ugly. I'd like to think in '92, putting out what the X-Men was, it was about the things that make us different, that can keep us together, and that different isn't evil. And I'm hoping that some of that continues to bubble up 25 years later, and that we can sort of use that as a way to sort of come together and be okay in the days and weeks and months ahead. Because we were trying back in '92 to make that point. You know, it was a diverse group.
President, so
That's true.
Yeah, we just need Charles Xavier.
Yeah. I know that's definitely the lesson I walked away with it. Like I said before, it was such a diverse cast. I think there was more women on the team than men. And I'd love to say that our fan group is very diverse. We have people from all over the country, all over the world, all over the world, different creeds. So we're all definitely like-minded people, and we appreciate that sentiment a lot.
Right. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate this.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you. If you ever want to do this again, please just let me know. We'll talk X-Men for weeks, but we look forward to keeping up with all your stuff on Twitter and at XMENTAS.com.
And please let us know how I can figure out how to link this to our website so we can keep it all in the loop here.
Yeah. When we edit the episode, we'll definitely make sure that we get it to you guys. It might end up being a two-parter, realistically.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Kimber, Tom.
Have a great night.
Thank you. I don't know.
They were
Wow.
super awesome.
Those
Super
are
awesome.
the nicest guests we've ever had. Nothing against you guys, but they were super nice. We're going to take a quick minute.
She got me a little choked up with that.
Yeah, I know. That was really nice. It's something that a lot of us need to hear. Yeah, Jack is clapping. They say, I wrote this earlier the other day. I said, they say don't meet your heroes, but it's glad to see that they're wrong about that. So we're going to get started in a few seconds. If you don't mind, like 3 minutes of a delay, I really need a cup of coffee and to use the bathroom.
I'll pour you a coffee.
Well, I guess I'll hold it.
I'm smoking.
But all right, so we're going to be going back and forth. Real quick. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Real quick, I'm going to let Jack come in. Oh, no, he just canceled Sam's show. I don't know if I can let him in now. That's not cool. No, I got to. Okay, he's gonna switch to his Jack account real quick. Just to, again, I want to thank Randall and Mormo for becoming our first patrons on our Patreon. The link's down below. There's some cool bonuses that you might be interested in. We're doing a once-a-month watch-along. We already picked the movie for our next one. It's going to be Glenn or Glenda by Ed Wood. Yeah, Mormo was our first $5 patron, and so we figured we'd let him... No, Delisha, I'm not allowed.
Influence our choice picks up and vibe it out for Mormo.
Hello, Josh. I didn't see you earlier. Welcome. So please tell us, right now on the list I have Jack. I don't know where the Tough channel went. It magically disappeared, but Jack's here. Billy, Mormo, Cal, Delisha, Eric, Ashley Joe, Janine, Sam, Raul, Randall. If there's anyone I'm missing who wants to jump in. Thank you so much, Joe. I can check it right now, but I don't want to be rude. I'll write you a thank you post, and that means a lot. Thank you so much. Joe and Ashley have never missed an episode. And getting choked up. Man, between all the nostalgia and how great you guys are, it's really overwhelming. But if anyone else wants to jump in, oh, Dub wants to come in, so we're going to put Dub down. Yeah, well, he stepped out, so I think that's why we were holding on.
I was trying to get people if they were coming.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call in.
Why don't you tell them what day it is for Mavis real quick?
Well, no, we're going to.
We'll get back to it.
We're going to do that later. It's a special day for Mavis and for us. Even though she's just sleeping, she doesn't really care. She doesn't even know. But we'll talk about that more after. She doesn't even know. Right. So how these are going to work if you're not familiar with the show, and you just saw X-Men the Animated Series. Eric and Julia Lewald were nice enough to answer a bunch of questions for us. We have the main 4 that we're going to be going on with the rest of our callers. And you'll learn what those main 4 are if you haven't seen the graphic already on Twitter.
If there's any way we could try to, I know it sucks, but try to keep it short a little bit so everybody could fit in.
Yeah, we're going to try to get everybody in, so we'll try to keep it short. But I see Jack.
Hey.
Tip boy. Hey, Jack. I hear you.
Let me, you can or cannot?
I can hear you. I can't see you yet.
Okay, hang on 1 second. This is the first time I've used this since the computer got redone.
Oh, okay.
So I think it'll work.
There you are. Found you.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
How'd it go? I think that went swimmingly.
That
What did you
was
think, Jack?
fantastic. Fantastic. I am happier than a clam on Sunday. I don't know what that means.
Well, as we all know, Sundays are very joyous to clams.
You know, it is. That's what I think. That was so cool. They were nice.
Yeah, they are
Really
super
cool.
nice.
I could listen to them go on all day.
For real. And because of that, we're going to kind of have to go speed round on this just to make sure
Let's
we can
do
get
it
everybody.
as fast as possible. No problem. I can't stay long anyway, so.
I wish I had a bell. All right, so our buddy Cal at Beer and Jade Javu.
I butchered it, by the way.
I butchered it? I always butchered it. What do you want from me? I shouldn't have to do anything. All right, at Veer and Jade Javu asked, who is your favorite X-Men from the animated series?
You know, what's funny is I really liked Jubilee until I found out that she stole Kitty Pryde, and now she can go suck it. so it's not you, Jubilee, anymore. I'm sorry. We can't use that clip. It's going to get edited out of the final show, but I'm just going to say it right here. Jubilee, you have killed me and my love for all things you. So it's going to have to be Rogue. It was always Rogue anyway. I'm just teasing. I've always liked Rogue. I love her power. I love having. Everybody wants to have superpowers, and Rogue has superpowers. Only her superpower hurts her. You know, it steals the psyche of other people. It messes with her own mind. So just to be a hero, she has to pay a price every time. And I love that aspect of her character. So Rogue, for me.
That's a great answer. I'm sorry. I just realized that why I've been saying it wrong so far, because it's Veer and Jade Deja Vu. Or Ja Deja Vu.
I don't know.
It's not Jade, it's Deja Vu. I'm an idiot. I've been reading it wrong for like 7 months. I was on a show with this kid. Yeah, I'm going to go use the restroom real quick.
Oh, I get Kimber. Hi, Kimber.
All right, so the second question
Did
is
you want to
coming
comment
from
on Rogue also?
Rogue is awesome.
Rogue is.
There's no comment. She's awesome. Like I said, I really love how they had sexy lady characters in that show, but they were all just fully clothed.
They did.
It's to me. I really think they should do more of that.
And if you wanted to see more of the sexy characters, you did what I did, which was buy the swimsuit issues that they had for the characters, because you know you all bought them. You can just deny it, but I still have them.
Nice.
Did I have a giant poster of Gambit in a Speedo? Maybe.
All right. So the second question.
That should be on your wall behind you.
And Delisha wants to know, which character do you think had the best story arc?
You know, I'll be honest. I watched a lot of animated series as a kid, but that was my teenage years for me. That was like right as I was transitioning from high school to college when that started. So I don't remember a lot of the arcs. as much as I remember the characters. So for me, it would be like the Days of Future Past storyline. Like I remember the storyline, so like all the characters in that storyline, but I don't really remember the specifics. So I kind of have to cop out on that one.
Cool. All right, so Ashley asked us at that _Mrs. Davis, what character do you wish had a cameo on X-Men the Animated Series?
I think we all know at this point that my answer is Kitty Pryde, who should have been on the show. She could have gone to a Stray Cats concert, and it would have been fantastic, and we all would have enjoyed it, and then she could have accidentally killed Wisdom, and then never had a relationship with him, and it would have been perfect, and that's how I would have...
and then she could have married you, and everything would have just
And
changed.
it would have been fantastic, except for my wife is nearby and doesn't want to hear me say that I would have married Kitty Pryde.
Go for it. All right, one more for you.
Yeah.
Janine asked us, who is the best villain from the animated series?
I really liked Magneto. That was a relationship that you had with Charles Xavier that didn't grow old the way it has in the movies. I think in the movies they keep playing the same elements over and over and over again between those two characters, and it's gotten stale, but I think it never got stale in the animated series. Every time Magneto was on, there was a purpose to his character being there. It affected the show in meaningful ways, and he was never brought on board just to keep that relationship going. Like there was always a story behind him, so Magneto was probably my favorite.
Yeah, I feel like Magneto's super memorable from the animated series.
Totally.
Yeah, I love his helmet and his whole look. He's awesome on that.
Oh, he's amazing. Like the whole, and I love that like so much of what the X-Men do revolve around things that Magneto helped them with. He gave them the, the helmet. He designed the helmet because he knows what Charles can do. But Cerebro exists because of Magneto's help. So there's that whole, there's that whole time when they were friends where all of the X-Men kind of follow this tenet that he helped create. But now he's a villain at odds with that very same, initiative. So yeah, I like that.
There's definitely also the element, like, as I get older and as I see things happen in this world, I can relate more to Magneto. Like, I can feel where he's coming from, Like, you could argue that Magneto is correct in the situation, that he's not, like, the
Totally.
bad guy.
He thinks registering mutants is a bad thing. He thinks that they don't need to be cured. There's nothing wrong with them. And I think we're going to see a lot of those challenges in the next 4 years where, they won't be mutants, but they'll be people of different lifestyles that are perfectly acceptable. But the society is now going to challenge those as though they were wrong. And this is the time for a Magneto. Even though he usually takes the violent path, I mean, at this point, Magneto is right now, right? Like we're close to demonstrating that all of the things Magneto said could happen to mutants, we're going to see that in our real world, as a parallel. So, it's
says that Magneto isn't really a villain; he's just an asshole.
Yeah, I think he's just passionate about his perspective, and he's not necessarily wrong. And I think. Not to get political, I don't want to make this a political thing, but at the end of the day, that relationship between Charles and Magneto is key to understanding our country. Like, these are two separate opinions that need to find a way to mesh because the other person isn't necessarily wrong. They just think differently than you. And at some point, you have to be able to find a way to work with that person. And that's Magneto and Charles in many ways. They both, at the end of the day, they all just want to celebrate life. But Magneto's way of going about it is so harsh. And, it's difficult for anyone to accept it. But is he wrong? He's wrong about the violence, but is he wrong about the way he feels? Like, that's why he's such a great character.
Billy points out in the chat that Professor X is based on Martin Luther King Jr.'s type of views, and that Magneto is more like a Malcolm X type character. Mm-hmm. So definitely it's like rooted in real world stuff for sure, and it definitely resonates almost now more than when they put out the show 25 years ago.
And Dub does make a good point of stating that how Magneto was a Holocaust survivor, so he's already experienced how bad things can be. So he's at this point trying to avoid that at any cost.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally relatable character.
For sure.
So I want to give other...
We learned X-Men, though, is in order to meet these two ideals together, we just got to play chess with each other.
Endless games of chess. But one person has to be in prison first, right?
Did you have anything you wanted to plug real quick?
Oh, sure. Just for the people who don't know, Fan Friction is off for the rest of the year because it's holiday time. Yay! But we'll be returning in February, and we're going to have some new ideas to present. We're going to try to do things in some new, fun ways, keeping the essence of the show, but changing around kind of the format just a bit. So we look forward to seeing you all again in February live. And in the meantime, on Sundays, you'll still see BFF, Ash and Joe's show, where they take some of the movies that we've already talked about this season, this half of the season, and they do their show on that. So please definitely stick with the Tough channel. If you haven't already followed us, we'd love to have a follow. And of course, support Tom and Kimber's Patreon because they are awesome. And they just killed it with a little interview with X-Men creators. So I think they deserve some love. Just saying.
Thank you very much. And I don't know if you heard Joe and Ashley join Patreon while you were in the room.
Oh, I did not hear.
So,
that's awesome. Thanks, guys.
There is a link to the Tough channel down in the description below where you can find all of the different content from people we've mentioned all throughout the episode already. Ashley, Joe, Brian, and Jack doing over tirelessly on some content. Matt helps too.
And then when this episode's edited, you'll find it right on our channel. So we can't wait to show everybody like the edited piece. Although there's not much to edit unless you're going to put stuff in from their show because everything they said was just so fantastic.
Well, yeah, I figured I was just going to cut you out.
No.
Yeah, well, that's the way to go.
Else.
No one needs to know that Kitty Pride is important to me. So you can feel free to just cut that out.
Pride, okay?
Oh, God.
Oh, here it goes. Guys, I don't want to take any more of your time. Thank you for having me tonight, and great job with the interview. That was fantastic. I look forward to doing that again. Guys, take care.
For sure.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye. All right, Billy, I know you're mod, so you can call in whenever you'd like. We're going to do something special now because it's an important... Yes, bye, Jack. Thank you. It's an important day for us. A year ago today, we got our mascot. Our anniversary is November 30th. So last year I got Kimber a cat, or we got a cat, known as Mavis, who all of you know very well. So we're going to do something special once Billy gets in here.
The Patreon is giving some people problems, but it's definitely working.
Oh no, I had a message error. Yeah, it won't let me link it in the, hold on. Huh, it's not letting me link it. Yeah. Who could that be?
Billy in your pocket. Why did it come in through there?
I don't know.
Do you want to just invite him through here? So
I guess I will. Now that he hung up on me, he didn't even... I thought we were going to have a Cal moment again. Remember when Cal falls on me?
Yeah.
Delicia's like, tear. Yeah, we'll try to get that link fixed for anybody. Did anyone else have a problem with that link? If not, Janine, I'll just send you the direct link. That's just something to make it easier for me to type it, because I made it into a tiny URL, obviously. But I already have that set up. Do you see?
Oh, did you do it already?
Yeah. There he is. Oh.
What's up?
I like your hair.
Yeah, it took me forever. Now that my hair's finally growing in, bub.
I'm holding her and you coming through?
Yeah.
Okay, so you ready for this? Kitty, come here.
Hell yeah. This one's for you, Morph. And Mavis. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mavis.
Happy birthday to
me, to you.
Oh, good job.
Yay.
You're giving her a little...
That was also for Gene.
So, How many shows have X-Men the Animated Series and cat birthday parties? Not many.
Been on the same
I
thing.
bet you we're the only one. They don't need to see that. It's cat.
I know, I'm putting it. It's
What are you
cat food. Here you go, Kitty.
It's on paper plate. She's wary. She's like, I'm not supposed to eat off plates. What's going on? So yes, it's our Mavisversary, and thanks for being along and enjoying all of the Mavis pictures along the way. And special shout out to Mormo's cat, Mavis. Great cats named alike. But let's go ahead and get started with these questions, Billy. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I love it. I can't wait. I sort of geekgasmed when you got Julia and Eric, and those guys are they're just so cool and so interactive with everybody on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure. If you're not following them, it's like almost an injustice because you're like missing out. Like these people, like we didn't even get into it. If you look into their credentials, like they've had roles on Julia, especially on Disney Afternoon. She was saying like Rescue Rangers and Gummy Bears and Darkwing Duck and
Beetlejuice.
oh, they did Beetlejuice, the animated series. That's why we have little Beetlejuice up here. Yeah, they are responsible for a lot of my childhood, and I'm sure a lot of the childhoods in this room and on the internet alike. But with that being said, Cal at Virinja Deja Vu.
He's still just messing up.
No, that's how it's supposed to be said. I got it right that time. Jeez, can't catch a break. Who is your favorite X-Men from the animated series?
This is a very tough question because I love all the X-Men. But if I really have to pick, well, bub, probably Wolverine or Gambit, because they both have a lot of charm. They got great backstories, and they both got pretty distinct voices. I can't do Gambit's because if I try a Cajun accent, I would probably offend many people. It would just be better if I spoke French, but I don't know any French, so yeah. But it's a tie between Wolverine and Gambit. I've always been drawn to these characters, no pun intended, but like they're both really tragic characters when you think about it, and I really sympathize with them and the fact that they just keep chugging along in this thing called life, and just they make friends, enemies, and may or may not have love interests. I ship Wolverine and Jean as well. I don't like Scott. I think he's a douche.
Yeah, Scott's the Boy Scout.
Just funny because I'm an Eagle Scout, so.
I also like Wolverine and Gambit both because they definitely have, like, you get to see Jean go through her dark time and stuff like that, but Gambit and Wolverine have already had their dark time and now are trying to get past that, which is interesting, whereas other characters haven't gotten that far in the series yet.
Oh, yeah. It's it gets nuts with I really like Gambit's episode when he goes back to the swamp and meets with the Belladonna.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really sad, and I'm like, God, Remy. And I never call him Remy, just always just call him Gambit.
I do think it's funny, however, they're like supposed to go someplace incognito. Everyone else changes their clothes, but Gambit is still wearing his trench coat and the armor, like chest plate, even though like Storm will be totally in like a disguise. Even she still has the lightning bolt earrings, so you know it's her. But I'm talking about that Genosha episode specifically, if anyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, underscore Renee, our friend Delisha, asked which character had the best story arc?
This was another tough one because they all have really good arcs, but I have been praising him on Twitter. Eric Monroe also loves him the most. That would be Morph. I don't know what it is about this guy. I mean, his voice or no, his laugh is super annoying, and like,
Well,
he makes that one making copy.
Sorry, Billy, you lagged out for a second.
He said Eric Monroe loves them, and then we didn't hear anything.
Yeah, and then we hear anything.
Okay, I said morph. Damn you, morph.
Yeah, it was
computer.
really interesting to hear their take on Morph and how he came to be.
Yeah, and the dude's voice, not only his voice, but his laugh is very annoying, you know. And I remember he just made that making copies joke, which I'm like, did he just steal a Rob Schneider joke? But, you know, he actually did serve a purpose, and he's also a tragic character through the series. Well, at least when he is a villain, spoiler alert. I mean, the show's 25 years old. Come on. But when he becomes a villain through Mr. Sinister, it's really sad because you feel he's like Gollum, where he has two sides to him. There's the side that really hates them because they left him behind. Or, yeah, I'm going to use them. And there's the side where he's like, oh, no, but they're our friends, and they didn't know. It's like, it's brutal.
Yeah, they're able to play, and it was cool how they didn't recycle storylines. Like, each character had their own very different path to go along. And you're right, Moritz is probably one of the most tragic because we've known he's been gone this whole time, so we can only like wonder what he's been going through. Like thinking that he was left behind when, I mean, Scott could have tried harder, but you know, it's not like Wolverine didn't want to go back. It's not like other people didn't want to go back. But you're right, he did have one of the more tragic roles, and it was really, although they weren't planning on bringing Morph back, it definitely served the series well. Yeah.
So our third question comes again from Ashley, and she wanted to know, which character do you wish had a cameo on X-Men, the animated series?
There's a lot of good cameos from like Ms. Marvel and even one from Captain America that I was very pleasantly surprised. But I don't know if they had her, but I'm going to say Dazzler. Just because she's so out there and it's just so weird that they can make it work. And since pretty much everyone dresses like the 80s, like, I don't know what the hell Gambit, I don't know what most of the stuff he's wearing actually is. And Jubilee's wearing gloves like she's doing the dishes for some reason. But yeah, Dazzler for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, it would be cool because like Jubilee could have went off to some rock band playing, and Dazzler could have totally been. And you know what? That could have been a cool mentorship, like Jubilee and Dazzler like team up because their powers are very similar.
She apparently had a cameo, as I'm being told right now by Janine. Thank you, Janine. But
maybe a big cameo.
Still, and they look like Dazzler and Jubilee. They look like they belong in Gem and the Holograms. Tell me,
that's very close to that era. You're probably missing it by about 8 years, but
tell me they don't though.
Well, I mean that's definitely dated because like Jubilee is definitely like our point of view back in the day. Like we remember arcades, we remember like VCRs, like so like for that it kind of just rings true to us. And the clothing it's like watching Saved by the Bell. It's like, who wears that sweater? Well, kids in the 90s wear that sweater. So apparently Dub's making some waves.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so we got one more question for you tonight, and that comes from the lovely Janine, and she wanted to ask, who is the best villain from the animated series, or your favorite?
This was another tie, but I couldn't, like, one of them is the more interesting character for me, and another one is just the most evil dude ever, and just like not even redeemably evil. I mean, even when you find out his backstory, and that's it's Magneto and Mr. Sinister. Tom mentioned him earlier, and yeah, Mr. Sinister was freaky. Just his voice, like, I was like, whoa, who is this guy? Like, of course, Apocalypse had the most epic voice ever, but Mr. Sinister's was more scary, and the dude had shark teeth. And I mean, yeah, when you see his attire, like, he's got those weird I don't know what it is, just like those weird parts of his costume, but if they can make it work, go for it. Then maybe I'll see another X-Men film, because after Logan, I'm done. Maybe Deadpool too, but I don't know.
If they can do some interesting stuff where they're saying, like, trading, like, I don't need a full franchise like meld together, but trading characters is a really cool idea. And I really like that Storm Black Panther idea. It keeps coming back up, but that'd be a really easy way to, like, introduce it. And then unfortunately, we don't know what the state of mutants in the universe is. Like, obviously, they're probably just laying low because the events of Days of Future Past changed everything, so we don't exactly know how things are supposed to be playing out right now. So it's open to interpretation, right? But I feel like they should focus on some of the side characters, like having, even though she was totally like a D-list character, the girl from Deadpool,
Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Like, it'd be cool to see some like side characters come into the Marvel universe, so it's not oversaturated, I guess. I don't want to necessarily see. I don't know. I kind of want to see Spider-Man and Deadpool hang out, but.
Well, I mean, so what you're saying is X-Force, essentially, because that's really what that is. It's a bunch of side characters, mostly teenagers, really, and that is kind of like where it feels like Fox is going that route, because they really have exhausted all their other resources and all their other characters, except Gambit, of course. Thank you. But you know, if they have a new and interesting direction, specifically Simon Kinberg, because he's kind of like Kevin Feige to Fox, then sure. But the thing is, I don't really trust Simon Kinberg to write a last act of a film, because he's got great ideas and great setup, but the execution on the finale is subpar. Overall, I think the X-Men, they're fine at Fox. I don't need them at Marvel. If they can get them at Marvel and figure out some way to benefit both companies, that would be amazing. But I don't need it. And overall, it's been great talking X-Men, and I love this series so much. And Eric and Julia, they got an article by my friend Mark. The series touched his life, and I told him, hey, dude, they're on Twitter. Share your article. And he wrote like this very impassioned article about how much the series meant to him growing up and all that. And then they were like, yeah, this is awesome. And they shared it on their website. So, again, thank you, Eric and Julia. And thank you, all the guys in the chat, because I have never really had friends to talk X-Men with, like, because I'm a very out there sort of guy, and if you don't like me, that's fine, but X-Men is one of the things I really love, and just seeing people with that passion is great.
For sure, and it's great to see somebody, like, not to say you're the baby of the group, but you're definitely one of the younger generations of our community, so to see that somebody is still carrying the X-Men the animated torch 25 years later It's definitely dope. Thank you, Billy, for coming in. You're always a great guest. Is there anything you want to talk about, or where can people find you?
You can find me at BBusterBill. All the B's are capitalized. You can find me on Instagram at Billy Polihan. You can find me on Facebook at Billy Polihan. I do a Facebook group called Screen Junkies Fans, and that's how we all met, through the Screen Junkies, and I'm an administrator, as is my sweet boy, Raul. Yeah, just hit me up. We can talk nerdy stuff, and we can be friends.
All right, great, Billy. Well, thanks again. We'll talk to you soon for sure.
All right. See you guys.
Everybody.
He can kick himself out as he has that power. Look, no hands. No hands.
I think Morgan is the youngest, right?
I think Morgan
He's 19.
is the youngest. I'm not sure.
We have Mormo next if he's still around.
Mormo, are you still around, and would you like to join the chat? It's been a little quiet in the chat. Don't like that, my sweet boy.
If Mormo isn't around, then it would be Cal's turn.
All right, so if Mormo doesn't respond in a second, then we'll just go ahead and call Cal, and then okay. All right, Billy, have a good night. Okay. All right, so we're gonna call Cal. Wait a second.
Maybe he'll tell you how to pronounce his name right.
He already acknowledged that I said it correctly. Okay, so Mormo is in the chat. So we're going to call Mormo. And then we'll call Cal after that.
Deb says you can be his sweet boy.
Before we were said, oh, he's going to be adapting it. So I just learned, oh,
You
thank God,
opened
it's
it
a
up
great
somewhere.
story. They didn't cut.
Oh, I found it.
A number of the writers were big
This is weird. It's like deja vu. Sorry, guys. Live TV. That's not TV.
Always.
I just like having a go-to excuse. Oh, it's live. Every day in life.
It is live, technically.
You're right. It's called being alive. All right, invite. All right, invite is sent.
Cal's getting more cereal. So Mormo will be joining us shortly. Hey guys. I know I'm gonna start saying that if I like bump into someone. Sorry, this is live. Things are crazy. I feel a little on the spot when I'm by myself in between callers.
You're fine. Do a dance.
I'm not much of a dancer.
Where's everybody going?
Where's Mormo?
Oh, wait till he gets here.
We've been losing viewers by the second since
Yeah.
X-Men left.
Well, that's what happens. Angle from my nightmare. Oh my god. Oh no, that definitely does say angel. I just
It
can't do
does.
this when we do these because it's just like
It
the glare, and I
glares,
look like who's Frodo?
Who is Frodo?
Yeah.
Elijah Wood?
Elijah Wood in Sin City with the glasses. I don't want to be equated with that guy.
Who's Frodo, he says.
I'm horrible at names. Everybody knows this. I obviously know who I'm talking about because I can refer them. I'm going to send another invite to Mormo just in case I didn't go through.
Fun fact about Elijah Wood, that's actually he's the reason that we started watching movie fights. It was there was like an
Oh,
Elijah
that's
Wood
right.
one, and we ended up like getting thrown there from searching other stuff. Like probably Lord of the Rings stuff on YouTube, and that was the very first episode we saw was the Elijah Wood one.
Yeah. Kevin. Yeah, that's him. Frodo of the Nine Fingers. No, I never heard of that guy. Little Fingers? Because he's a hobbit. And hobbits have little fingers.
Where's Mavis?
Where is Mavis? If we give her a treat and she's just like out.
Why is it sending it to
Why
your
is it going
phone?
through my phone? That's weird. Mormo's trying.
Don't answer it there because...
So I'm gonna turn this off, I guess.
Yeah.
Try again, Mormo. I'm sorry.
Do you need to send him another one for him to... Littlefinger is not called Littlefinger because his fingers are small. It's because he's a petite gentleman from the fingers. Fingers is a...
Okay, just turn my phone off. So I'm gonna send another. I don't know why it does that. I'm glad it didn't do that with X-Men.
Install it from your phone.
Well, my phone's off now, so it's not gonna go straight to it. But like when I invited X-Men, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, because they
Weird.
came right in.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how well their connection was. I was worried about that.
They looked
as
super
you know,
clear.
And they tried Eric's computer first because we met with them yesterday, and Eric's did not look so great. So apparently Julia has all the nice equipment, Eric said. So that was a nice looking.
Yeah, I can't say enough about how nice those guys are.
Sure.
For sure.
For sure, maybe.
Where is my name?
This is weird. I don't understand why.
Somehow we're still working out the kinks of being
Yeah.
on YouTube Live as opposed to Blab.
Thank you for being patient with us as we do the community segment. Yeah.
Ba-na-na-na-na,
Ba-na-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na-na, na-na-ba-na.
Joe's a little spicy today.
Yeah, Joe.
Have you noticed? Joe's a little extra
Joe's
spicy.
been spicy since the Pay It Forward episode. It has unlocked the beast inside of him.
He's spicing it forward.
He's spicing it. Hashtag spicing it forward. All right. Mormo, are you still getting the links? I don't.
Oh, he just said.
Yeah, Mormo. I'm gonna send you another link. If for some reason it went straight, there's a lag. Oh, you know what? Let me try Cal, and then we'll give you another shot afterwards. This way, we're not eating up too much time. But I definitely want to, you would be able to come in. So we'll just add Cal for now, and then
He's spicy because they're on vacation. See, Ashley knows. She sees the spice.
so Cal just sent you an invite, and hop on whenever, and then hopefully we can get Mormo in the future.
I know. Hopefully we can get Delisha on tonight. It's been an ongoing struggle with trying to get her to cooperate with the Google Hangouts too.
Yeah, it's like we react
Spice
differently
must
for everybody. Was this Dune? No, Mormo's jumped in on here before. You should be able to do it. Sometimes it just gives us a hard time. But go ahead and accept the call, Cal, and then we'll try Mormo again. Maybe he just needs a minute. Or maybe we need a minute. We're losing viewers by the second. Nobody cares about us. They care about you. Somebody get on cam, please.
Let me look at the list.
Please.
Normal, Cal, Delisha, Eric, Spicy Joe.
Spicy Joe. There's Cal.
Can you see me?
How's it going, Cal? Yeah, we can see you.
All right, cool. What's going on?
How'd you enjoy the interview?
Oh, it was really good, man. Like, it's nice, and like everyone was saying, they're really like they're super nice. They always like tweet back at you, or they're always promoting your stuff and all that. So they're really nice people. And you guys did a great job interviewing them and everything. So I enjoyed it. And I was a big fan of the show too. So I mean, like all like back in the day, watching the Spider-Man series, the X-Men animated series, all that was like great. So it's like bringing back my childhood. So yeah, I'm kind of remiss that no one mentioned that the action figures, because like the action, I know in the chat we did, but like in telling them like how awesome those action figures were, because I used to love to collect them and get them for Christmas and stuff back in the day. So those were really cool because they each had their own like little thing. Like Colossus had like a dumbbell that he like raised up with the thing on his back. Wolverine's claws came out. Magneto was magnetic, so he like it's pretty cool. Like
yeah, I have a little Storm here, and it's really old, so it doesn't work anymore. But it actually has like a little switch on her back, and she used to light up.
Yeah. And like Nightcrawler's tail was like prehensile, so he could attach it to things, and like he'd hang upside down. It's like really cool stuff. All those toys did.
Tomorrow I've come to bargain.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, right. All right, let's get right into this question. You asked us, who's your favorite X-Man from the animated series?
Oh, did I ask that? Because I could have sworn Tom said someone else's name like 17 times.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Viren Ja Deja Vu. Like I've been saying for my entire life.
Favorite X-Men probably be Wolverine. I mean, it's kind of the obvious answer. I just like his character, I like his story, and it's just I think he's the first X-Men. I think my first ever introduction to X-Men was my cousin bought me a comic book for Christmas, and after that I started watching the series because he got me into it as well. And I just always was attracted to Wolverine, his attitude, and like he was a badass. He had cool weapons, he had cool mutant powers, so I always liked him. So I would have to say Wolverine.
Yeah, I agree. We were talking about how I'm a Wolverine and Jean shipper, and that comes from like if I was in Jean's situation, it's just so funny to me that like you should obviously pick Wolverine. You gotta pick like Cyclops is nice, but he's kind of a weenie.
Yeah.
I think Wolverine's like the bad boy. Like it's appealing. I don't understand why she was so torn. Like I understand like they're gonna have her pick the nice guy or whatever, but Scott's a weenie. I would have definitely went Logan all day.
Yeah, I was all about that. And the one like the episode where he's like holding her picture and like touching it, like that's one of like the famous scenes. But I think can't remember what season that was. What episode?
That meme, you mean?
Yeah, it's a meme. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So Delisha asked, which character had the best story arc?
I was gonna say I like well, you got just like you said the Jean Grey one, because like who doesn't like the Phoenix and Dark Phoenix sagas? That was great. They tied a lot into that. Like I mean, did they even have like Scott's family in that with Corsair, right? In that saga, I'm pretty sure. So like tied a lot. But I also I love the Apocalypse saga too, like with the Four Horsemen and stuff. So those two like are tied in my eyes. So I like both of them. But it's cool how I think they did a better job translating the Dark Phoenix to the movies, I guess, as opposed to the Apocalypse one, because Apocalypse just looked like Ivan Ooze. And that kind of upset me, and they didn't make him as badass as like Apocalypse is in like the comics and the cartoons. So I think Dark Phoenix like
we were just watching the Apocalypse one a few days ago, actually, right?
We were watching the one where Rogue decides not to change back, and then Warren becomes Archangel.
Archangel, yeah.
I remember the name episode, but
yeah, we were just watching that. Good stuff. All right, so Ashley asked, what character do you wish had a cameo on X-Men the Animated Series?
I really struggled with this question. I don't know. I don't even know who would I have, because like they had a lot of like cool cameos, like obviously like Omega Red and all that, and like I liked your Doctor Strange mention. That was cool. Captain America was on it, so like I wouldn't know. And like Deadpool's too easy to say because Deadpool is, he's in the movie, which is fun. That was a good one. But maybe Silver Surfer or something like that, so they can add Galactus, because that's another huge godlike figure that they could fight somehow. I think that'd be cool. So maybe Silver Surfer and Galactus.
For sure. Cool choice. Your face is halfway in shopping.
I just like being included.
All right, last question for this tonight for this extremely professional and smooth episode of Odd Shaped Panel. We're gonna ask Janine's question, and she said, "Who is the best villain from the animated series?"
I'd have to say Apocalypse because I just loved his story arc. So it's cool, just like making 4 people into a horseman, and like what he did with Archangel, and I think they even brought him back later, like to have more of the Archangel and Apocalypse, like more than that, just that story. I think they had another little few episode arc, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure though. Like how they finally kill him, and like he'd hit him in the back of the neck or something like that. And like his only Archangel could do it with his like blades that he made from, I don't know, his wings and stuff. I just like having Apocalypse, and like they said, he had the cool voice too. So like they were giving credit to the guy, the voice actor, who was also like the first Klingon. They were saying that's pretty cool behind the scenes facts, and that I'm looking forward to that book because you have a lot of behind the scenes stuff about that too. So I'd have to say Apocalypse. I like all those big time villains like Apocalypse, Thanos, Galactus, all those guys. They're like otherworldly and just like supreme beings, and they're like powerful. They grow in size and all that. So I just like all that kind of stuff. Larger than life villains. I like anything like that.
It was like a lot of Shakespearean actors from what we've done, like seen in our research, doing all the voices for X-Men the Animated Series, and I feel like the Apocalypse voice showcases that the best.
And we saw a cosplayer.
That guy was amazing.
If I can remember, I'll try to put a link into the
Maybe we'll put a clip,
or the clip. This costume is blew the Age of Apocalypse movie costume out of the water.
He was monologuing.
And he was doing monologues to death, or oh wait,
that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, he was doing a death monologue, and it was just so good, and he gave that very rich Shakespearean, like I think Billy said it earlier that he just has so much gravitas in his voice.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Joe knows what I'm talking about.
That's it.
All right, Cal. Well, thank you so much.
Having me, guys. Good job tonight. It was great. Great interview. Great questions. I like how you incorporate fan questions too, as opposed to just the questions we asked. Like, there's like a lot of questions that people want to know, but like stuff like that. So hopefully you guys can get them on again and ask some more fan questions that people asked. I tweet to them, but they they answer back too, so they're great like that. So it was great. All around good show and everything. I'm glad I got
Thank you very much
too. So
thank you.
Have happy Thanksgiving as well to everyone in here.
You too. I saw pictures of Friendsgiving. It looked.
Oh yeah, my first ever Friendsgiving. Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time.
We saw a few familiar faces in that picture.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So tell them we said hello.
I will.
All right. Have a great night.
Yeah, everybody in chat. I'll be in chat though.
Nice.
Yeah, he's enjoying his vacation. Usually Cal has to run out because he's in school and work and all that.
Mormo said that he'll call in next time, but if you are in the chat, Mormo, and you would like to try one more time, definitely let us know. Delicia's next, which is another person who we famously have a hard time getting a hold of on the chat. So just spam invites to Mormo and Delicia until one of them can get through.
We're gonna get calls on Google Hangouts at 3 in the morning.
Oh, Janine is saying that she loves the pillows. She actually shared these to my page, and I thought they were really cool, and my uncle ended up sending them to me for my birthday. So shout out to Janine on the assist with these awesome pillows. I actually have 2 more of them, but 4 pillows on the couch is a little excessive.
What do you guys?
She loves it when we go off the rails. Good, because we do that a lot.
Yeah. Automated messages on Twitter, because I feel like we're the only podcast who doesn't use that. You follow them and it's like, thank you so much. Here's all of our stuff. But I feel like
I
it's
don't
a little,
want to do that.
I don't either.
That annoys me when people do that.
But if it works for them, it works for them.
You should have your mom make you Lannister bed sheets. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'd be jealous.
Cal's mom is adorable. His parents are really sweet.
His dad is adorable. And dog. Family. If you're wondering how we know, you should check on the Tough channel, link in the script, and look for Odd Shaped Travels, where we went to the season finale party, because we do a Game of Thrones show with Cal also.
Which hopefully we'll be doing again if we can find place to do it.
We
'cause
should be able to
Lab
do it
died.
on here as long as.
So yeah, I would love to do that. It's called The Night's Watch, and that's when Game of Thrones is on. So hopefully by the time Game of Thrones comes back on, we can figure all that out. Oh, huzzah!
Hey. Hey guys.
How's it going, Delisha? How are you? I'm glad you can make it.
A little tired, but yeah.
Let us just turn your volume up real quick. It's a little low.
Yeah, in fact, I'm going to try to do it from the control panel.
We can see you though, and that's good.
It's half the
I know.
battle.
Is it the volume better? I got it as high as I can get it.
If you can turn it up a little bit, I turned you up on our side, but I'm not sure if it's good enough.
I got it as high as my tablet.
Okay, can everyone in the chat hear her well? Just want to make sure before we have you.
There's about a 1 minute lag going on in between when we say things and they hear things.
Really?
Only on the live stream.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I can hear you. And it looks like everyone can see you and is excited to see you in the chat.
It's good.
Just if you, is your mic like right here or?
It's right here.
Yeah, as long as you just try to talk into the mic, we should be fine. They say they can kind of hear you, so we want to make sure we hear your answers to these great questions. One of them being yours.
All right.
So Cal Virenja Deja Vu asked, "Who is your favorite X-Men from the animated series?"
I am going right off of Janine and Storm for basically the same reason. She was, if I can remember, she was one of the first black female characters, cartoon characters that I've seen on that I saw. So it was kind of great, like me, leadership role. It was just, and she's just amazing. She's always like that mother type of mother, and she has.
I'm sorry, Delisha. I heard like half of that. I'm trying. Yeah. I know you speak kind of soft. Don't be afraid to yell.
Right. No, also.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, just yell.
I think it is both the mic closer. No, I'm trying to also not trying to yell too loud. But no, Storm, that's one of my favorite characters. She looked like she was the first that I saw that looked. And also she's just so kick-ass and badass. And Aurora and this African queen. Like I just want to be her.
Yeah, and Storm definitely pulls off like that queen vibe. Like she's all she's like all about command, and that knows when she's like commanding the elements. So that's cool. Yeah, another theatrical character. All right. Well, you asked which character had the best story arc.
This is almost, I guess, like a given. Actually, because I came into the animated series kind of late. I think it might have been over by the time I got into it. I was on X-Men Evolution before I knew about X-Men the animated series. So what got me into it was hearing so much about the Dark Phoenix saga, which I didn't know too much about. I don't read comics, and yeah, I don't. But definitely the Dark Phoenix saga to the animated got me to like just love the X-Men more. To see Jean go through, like you see her you see her as this like a good person, that she gets taken over by this like parasitic force, and she's like automatically doesn't want to age to be like, whoa, we really put this power that she has come through to the forefront, but it's used in a not so good way. So I like seeing that dynamic between Jean that we all love, and seeing her be on this other character.
Yeah, that definitely was an interesting twist to the show, especially because the whole time you're like, oh, they're at a school, but they're way too old to be at a school. So X-Men Evolution kind of gave it that twist where it was like, oh, it's appropriate for them to be at a school. Yeah, they're still having a hard time hearing you.
We might be able to fix that. the edited
Yeah, I'm definitely
episode.
going to try to boost it when we edit it, so we should definitely still be able to hear you in the post one. But if you see me in the video like this, that's why. But I'm catching the gist of what you're saying.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's not your fault. So Ashley at that Mrs. Davis _Mrs. Davis asked, "What character do you wish had a cameo in the X-Men?"
This one was probably the hardest one for me. Like I said, I'm still like into the series. I would have loved to have seen like Deadpool like more frontal like in that world, just to see. Even, I mean, I know it's probably would have been hard because it's a kid show, but just to see like him as a parody figure in a kid show breaking that fourth wall, it would just been brought a whole new dimension to the show, even of itself that we could also appreciate as adults as we got older as well, as we look back and watch series. So I would have loved to see Deadpool or Full Frontal in the series with his fourth wall breaking being that parody character.
Yeah, it would definitely be cool to see their actual like the Wolverine dynamic with him also.
Yeah, that would have been funny and probably almost a little painful for me. So I have to get that memory. I mean, having that memory back from the Weapon X program, seeing another figure from that program. Just basically the Mercury Falcon. Probably won't put in the case, but
Nice. And our friend Janine the Bean asked, "Who is the best villain from the animated series?" You think I would know that by now?
Probably another like the giveaway is Magneto. I just love his story to the fact that that he's not almost like a villain. He's more like just a person. Again, he is a person perspective, but when it came down to it, like wow, I see why he does the things that he does because of everything that he's been through. And I think that's why everyone else loves him so much as well. I mean, because he's just not just this bad. He just wants to take over the world because he wants. So he has a reason as to why he does the things.
Yeah, I agree. Has layers, and that's what makes villains likable, for sure. And now in the comics, he's a good guy, and he's in white, so that's even cooler.
Definitely.
The solo Magneto run from a few years ago, if you ever get a chance to read it, it's really good. His powers are a little morphed down, but what he does with them are creative at the very least. But thank you, Delisha. Sorry for those who had a hard time hearing her, but we're gonna boost that up in post.
I'm glad we could just get her in finally.
Yeah, this is one step closer. So thank you so much, Delisha. Hope you're having fun.
Oh, always. Every time I get a chance to watch it,
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Is Eric still around?
I will ask him. Is Eric still around?
If Eric is not around, then Ashley and Jill would be next.
Any confirmation from Eric? Kat is getting into stuff. Now that she knows it's Mavis' anniversary, she can get away with everything. It's fine, Felicia. We'll fix it. Not a big deal. We're just glad to have you involved. I have the chat. Before I had this over here, and I was not doing that. Okay, yeah, so I think Eric may have left us. Eric, if you are still here and you still want to call, let us know. But we're going to go ahead and... Oh, Ashley's going to powder her nose real quick. Not in the 1980s way, but she's just going to... I'm going to make some coffee real quick. Do you know anything while I'm in the kitchen real quick? Okay.
So for the rest of the list, I have on here Janine, Sam, Raul, and I think Randall left for the night. So if you guys are still all around, let me know in the chat so I can see who you can. I see that Sam is here. And Dub is on the list too.
We are just waiting on confirmation that Ashley is covered. I think we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and send them the invitation so that it's there. When they're ready. I can spell Ashley.
Me either.
Apparently I can.
There's a bag with yarn over here. You can have to make it. Lots of yarn. The strawberries are yarn.
That is in there.
It's true. Myth busted.
Huzzah!
Hello.
How's it going?
We got a little face hugger just chilling.
Yep. His name is Timothy. It'll make sense on Sunday.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, this is a preview.
Yes.
Yeah.
He just
I heard Timothy had a cousin,
Oh no.
and his name's Pepe.
Honestly,
And,
I like
he's just chilling.
Yeah.
It's aliens
But
now.
yeah, aliens.
Segue. Did you guys want to tell them about what's coming up on BFF?
Sure.
With the mid-season finale of Fan Friction coming to a close, we also have a mid-season finale of BFF, and then we are going to be moving into backlogs after that. But Timothy here makes his debut when we do our Aliens BFF, which we have been working on diligently.
Yeah.
And it'll be coming to you next Sunday, I believe?
This Sunday.
This Sunday.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this Sunday. I gotta edit all that together this week.
See, Mavis has a better instinct. Get rid of the face hugger. She does not like the face hugger. The rest of our cats are just like, what is that thing? Keep it away from me.
Yeah, she likes little stuffed animals like that. She'll go and like carry. She has a Hello Kitty that she carries around once in a while.
We bought our cats toys, and there is a scratching post around here somewhere, but they'd rather destroy our furniture and eat the plastic and paper.
We bought this cat a heating
Instead
bed.
of
And we're
random-
finally using it.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Mavis.
yes.
So cute.
She's having a good one. I love your hair, Ashley. That looks so cute.
Oh, thank you. I did not do it myself because I am not talented in this way.
For those that follow us on Twitter, we were at the Renaissance, or don't follow us on Twitter, I guess. We were at the Renaissance Festival this past weekend, and every year we go, she gets her hair done, if you want to show them the sides and stuff.
Yeah,
from
it's a little uneven because apparently my hair is thicker on one side.
but it's a place we also got engaged at.
Yeah.
So.
Aww, I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's like a fun little story.
Yeah. So.
Very cool. Well, let's talk some X-Men. You guys down?
How'd you guys?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Such a great interview. They're so nice.
They are super nice.
And then when you're talking about the end after they left about like her involvement with like Disney Afternoon stuff, it's like, ooh, future episode idea. Please come back and talk about that.
Totally.
I will ask. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, it absolutely
You should have
does.
never brought up Tim.
She's killing Pepe.
Oh no! Don't kill Pepe. Tim is very sad.
Come on, let's separate this. This is not. All right, Pepe's safe for now.
All right. So, Cal asked, "Who is your favorite X-Man from the animated series?"
It's really hard to say because they're all so fantastic. Like, if it was least favorite, I have one of those, but favorite is very difficult. Is she still looking for Pepe? Favorite is really difficult though, because favorite, like I got a soft spot for Beast. I always felt that I was someone as a kid watching the show. I felt, why did they never explore Beast and Storm having a relationship of some sort? Because they were both of all the characters on the series, they were seemed the most intelligent, most well spoken, most level-headed, have their lives together, etc., 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 of all the other characters on the series.
Yeah, I can see that. Sorry.
As far
I took her
as
toy away.
favorite
She was tail.
Beast, probably.
Yeah, I have to go with Beast as well, just because like he's so well read and he always has those little literary references, and he's a character that sticks by his convictions, as we see in his beginning arc, where he's like, "No, I'm gonna go to jail. Like I'm going to do what's right in my heart, and I'm gonna wait for my day in court, and we're gonna do this the legal way." And one of my favorite moments is him like upside down in his cell, like reading a book, and he like, "Tell Janine thanks for the, or yeah, Jean, thanks for the delicious cookies." Like that moment has always stuck in my mind since elementary school.
For me, it was the scene when he was in jail, and I think it's actually probably, if it's not the same scene, it's another similar scene with the episode with Colossus in it, when they're breaking Colossus out of jail. Well, you guys go. You got stuff to deal with. You gotta go stop this like other dude. But I'm good.
Yeah, I even love when Rogue and Gambit go and visit him in prison, and they're in the cell with him, and then Gambit's like, "Oh, I'm gonna blow us out of here," and Beast is like spends the bar and lets him out. He's like, "I can get out whenever I want." Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like I could escape anytime I want. I'm just not.
Yeah.
It's the
I'm
right
gonna
thing
have
to
my
do.
day in court.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
he,
yeah,
he
Beast.
seemed like, even though like he was one of the more visible mutants, he was always the most comfortable in his skin too, which I thought was appealing about Beast.
Which they kind of got away from in the, like, I liked the first Origin movie, but they got away from like him embracing the Beast, which is weird. And they did the
Yeah.
same.
Probably because it was cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's make him have a conflict so we don't have to, so we can give him a serum to make him not be the Beast.
Yeah.
Until plot. Anyway,
Yes. Because story.
at Delisha underscore, I'm still thinking about that cake. At Delisha underscore Renee asked, which character had the best story arc?
For me, the best story arc probably goes, and they're my least favorite characters on the show, but it's Scott and Jean. Everything involving Mr. Sinister and their whole situation with, I mean, because they are involved in some major arcs in the story, but overall you could argue that it's their story arc together. Like the way their relationship endures with all the situation of the Phoenix saga and Sinister screwing with their lives, and, you know, Cable. Jean probably knows who Cable is, but she just like, oh, God, I hate those characters so much. They're well written, but the way they are written, like it infuriates me. Because yes, Jean would have been better off with Logan because he actually gives a crap about her and not his job. And Scott is way too obsessed with his own self. But all in all, because of the level of impact that their relationship has on like everything that happens, is such a big deal to me.
I don't know if it's the show is revolved around Scott and Jean, or is it that everything is Scott and Jean's fault?
I would say a little from column A and a little from column B.
That's about right.
Look, if you didn't want, like, they're both the best hope and the worst thing that ever happened to mutant kind.
Well, and for those, I mean, I don't know if anybody reads current comic books, but Scott is kind of on the wrong side of things now, so it's interesting to see how that character developed and why. If anybody wants to read the books, I don't want to spoil it for you because it was shocking for me.
I discovered this recently, but at one point Scott also had the Phoenix. So
yeah, him, Colossus, Namor, Cloak and Dagger.
But it feels so much more like poetic that Scott has it at some point.
Well, he's like one of the final people to have it, but yeah, that is something cool. Like, that's one of the worst things that happened to the X-Men films was Phoenix. I was just like, that's like a different personality. Like, that's such a cop-out.
Yeah.
My issue is that they make it a ingrained part of Jean already instead of something that shows up to her later. I figured that would be way better, like it actually is. But I'm sorry.
But we don't work in Hollywood, so what do we know?
We just pay for the shows. Well, what was your answer?
I think my favorite arc is where Rogue is having to deal with, like, I have this opportunity to, like, lose my power so that I can connect with people on a human level, and then when she decides that, like, no, like, this is who I am, I don't, even though it hurts her to not be able to connect that way, and for the greater good ultimately.
Yeah.
And I love it when they're in the Savage Lands, and because it's a kid show, they couldn't make this happen, but it's like, you don't have your powers right now. This is like the perfect opportunity for you to go kiss.
We were joking
Gambit.
about, like, Gambit and Rogue are like, wait, what? We don't have our powers? They just, like, run into the jet and close the door.
But, kids show, they couldn't do that, but...
Guys, the professor's in trouble. You just see Gambit open the door. Shut your mouth.
Yeah, that's
They
pretty
couldn't.
Tom.
You realized the camera was on me. Sorry. I just went to a happy place. Because, what's good for Rogue if that was to happen. She deserves it.
Well, they both deserve each other. They can relate to each other.
Yeah, they're Southern.
Yeah, but I don't know. I kind of feel like Gambit's attracted to her because she's unavailable, and usually he's so slick that he can get whatever he wants, and the fact that he can't just coerce Rogue into things makes it a challenge.
I like to imagine there's a real bond there.
Okay. If you want to lie to yourself, that's fine.
Because he knows she can also break him in half. So I don't think he wants to try and trick her or coerce her into anything. I think there's a little more honesty in that situation because, kill him so easily.
That is true. All right. Well, Ashley, you asked, and I messed up your name in the question graphic. I apologize, but that underscore Mrs. Davis asked you, what character do you wish had a cameo near?
So I had to look this up to make sure I could legitimately talk about this. But I guess in theory you could bring up any character that it was even created for X-Men afterwards, like Glob, Herman, or Hellion, or Armor. Armor's awesome. But my choice, because he technically was released as a character in the X-Men universe as a whole, about the last season the series was on the air, so it was like a ships passing in the night situation. And if he existed in earlier seasons, I totally see them using him as a character as Peter Wisdom. I've been talking about him in chat all night. Peter Wisdom is a British agent of Military Intelligence 13, which deals with the paranormal, the supernatural threats to Great Britain and the associated colonies and such. And he is a mutant. He is a super spy. He is the founding leader person, basically the Charles Xavier of the group known as Excalibur, because he wants to set up an organization like the X-Men in England to benefit the people of his country. He's awesome. For example, Excalibur, he was able to bring characters like Nightcrawler and Juggernaut together to work for the greater good of the country. And when you can get Juggernaut to help people, that has to be fairly impressive. But he, the other thing is, and Jack was flailing about it, but he dated Kitty Pryde at one point. And I think there is a bit of an age difference, but by the time they were a thing, she, of course, was like in her mid-20s and he was in his mid-30s. There's some hilarious situations involving him pretending to be Xavier, like shaving his head after he was put in the hospital by Colossus, and all sorts of other fun stuff. But yeah, his mutant ability is he can generate heat knives, which for the average person look like claws on him, and he can throw them as like thrown weapons. He's also the character I played in our tabletop RPG of X-Men.
Nice. All right. And I'm sorry, Ashley, did you go?
She is.
I want to see like a full episode where Deadpool is there. I think that would have been hilarious. Like not sew up his mouth like in the bad X-Men movie, but like how they could like handle like kind of like the like ADHD kid version of Deadpool, where he's having conversations with himself, and they're like, "What is wrong? How are you even like a good hero? Like you're talking to yourself. Like what's going on with you? We're gonna be over here." But then he's like, you know, doing like really cool Deadpool things, but in a kid-friendly way.
I'll have to show you sometime. Ultimate Spider-Man had a Deadpool episode. It was really good.
Yeah, I think that's why some parents were like, "Please make a PG-13 cut of this movie," and everyone's like, "No, no."
Yeah, they did him really successfully in the Ultimate Spider-Man series, especially with that jet from Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Oh
Tony
my
Stark,
God.
where it cuts to Tony Stark just like, what is this? And there's an IOU spray painted on the freaking airstrip.
Yeah.
I also like that they made it to where Deadpool can't say the word kill. Alive them. And Spider-Man's like, you mean kill them? And Deadpool's like, whoa, you could say the K word? I can't say the K word.
But yeah, I would like to just see that version would be funny to me.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so Janine the Bee asked, who is the best villain of the animated series? And if your answer is still the same one from our nostalgia episode, or was it? I think it was cartoons. What was it? Because Joe has talked about possibly this person before.
Might have been nostalgia.
Might have been nostalgia.
It's Mr. Sinister, because his name says it all. He is truly the most terrifying villain. Apocalypse is dangerous. He is a force of nature, and he does terrible things. But only one villain in the X-Men universe has manipulated the course of evolution to get his way. He's the Joseph Mengele of the X-Men universe.
Yes.
Okay.
I just realized I share a name with a psychotic mad scientist.
Yeah, everybody
That's
shares
terrifying.
a name with a horrible person. It's cool.
Yeah, I bet it's the Brown in Game of Thrones literature.
I like that Joe just had that connection though right now.
Cool.
But Mr. Sinister will always be my numero uno villain from the X-Men, and I've been saying it in the chat that like talking about sharing characters. Like, yeah, I don't think necessarily we need the X-Men in the MCU, but I think the MCU could definitely use from the shot in the arm that is the X-Men Rogues Gallery, because they have some of the best villains in the entirety of Marvel.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how they did it. I would have messed it up.
Sinister's so good.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
What about you?
I really like Mystique because of how like she can manipulate people, especially like all of the stuff that she did with like Rogue and with manipulating her and just pretending to be other people, and like with the like I'm gonna pretend to be this doctor that has this mutant cure. And I don't like how they've portrayed her in the film universe, but I really love her from the animated one.
I think she was better portrayed when she was Rebecca Romaine Lettuce.
Are you making fun of her because of her cabbage head?
No, because romaine lettuce is a thing.
Oh, I get it. I had some around there.
I was with it, Joe.
But no, I like her as an actress. I just make the joke. In general, I thought she was, because she was like schemy and conniving and intelligent and clever and all that junk when she was Mystique in the original X-Men movies. But not that I think what's her name,
Jennifer
Lawrence has done bad as Mystique. I just don't like the direction those movies have taken her.
Yeah, they started out really good with the special effects makeup, and now they're just getting lazy and using it. Like, we literally saw the zipper that she doesn't like to wear.
And she's super famous, so they don't make her wear it. It's not of this quality.
But I really like the costumes in the animated series. Like, I loved that, like the duster.
The white, where she's not just naked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I get, and if people could be like, well, how come her clothes change with her? I don't know, but
How come?
ship around her.
How come? How come Morphs changes with him? I don't know. How come? I don't know. The simple cloth stops Rogue's ability from affecting other people. It is what it is.
Ask too many questions about a cartoon from 25 years ago. The wrong questions.
Hey, this is. You see how many people we got talking about this?
I know.
This is important stuff.
I think that's both or all 4 questions. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I just wanted to throw something in there really quick for Kimber, because I know she's a big Doctor Strange fan. That when we were doing our tabletop RPG of X-Men, the plot, because we're not playing it anymore, we're doing something else. The plot involved like Galactus had shown up to eat Earth, as he is one to do, and Professor X was supposed to find a way to trick him into thinking he ate Earth, so he left. Well, what actually happened is he did eat Earth, and Doctor Strange and Professor X worked together to pull Earth into the astral plane, sustained, and it's still there, and it exists, but it's also technically physically inside Galactus at the moment. So the whole plot was trying to figure out how we could fix that situation. But I love what our GM did, because the GM who ran our Star Wars games, and he always voiced all the characters accurately and all sorts of fun stuff. But the voice he used for Doctor Strange, which was, if you've ever seen Venture Brothers.
Yeah, Dr. Orpheus.
Yes, that's how he delivered Doctor Strange's stuff. So that made me think. Also, the fact that Doctor Strange was heavily involved in our X-Men game, I thought was kind of a cool side nod. So
that's awesome.
Well, thank you so much for calling in, Joe.
Technically, you called me.
Oh.
Wrong meter. Ding, ding.
Well, you know what? Me and Patches are gonna hang out, and
y'all have a nice evening. And thank you for having us.
Yes.
Of course. Always nice to see you guys.
If you want to catch Joe in a spicy mood, click the link to the channel below and check out their latest episode of Pay It Forward on BFF.
Yeah, that was a fun movie to review.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, there was so much more footage of us talking about all of the bad teaching stuff in it. I had to cut most of it out.
There was like over an hour, around an hour, that had to be cut down to about 35 minutes. And
I was like, nobody wants to hear me talk about how wrong all this is.
A lot of it also was me complaining and going off on tangents because of this movie. So
you should have brought the wrong meter back around in this movie. Wrong.
Yeah.
Just do that for the movie itself.
Anyway, thank you so much. And a big thank you to becoming our latest patron. We hope you can join us. We have to decide on a night, but for our live watch along of Glenn or Glenda by Ed Wood. I hope you're looking forward to that.
Oh yeah,
it's public domain.
I love
public
it.
domain. You can just pull up on YouTube, or we'll find a similar link. But that's how it'll work. And if you're interested in watching that with us, check out our Patreon. There's another link to that down there. Thank you so much, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Y'all take it easy. Bye.
Bye. All right, so we have, is Janine still calling in?
She said that she is not going to be able to call
Okay.
in. So Sam.
And then Raul, and then Dub, and then...
I haven't seen Raul in a while. Raul, if you're here, let us know, sweet boy.
Sweet boy.
But I know Dub is still here, and I'm sure he wants to talk. He's definitely an X-Men fan. Banana,
banana, banana, banana. And Eric created a Gmail, so we're going to try it. All right. Sam, you have an invite in your Gmail. Oh, well, there he is. Look at that. Right in. Sam is calling from Australia. He's taking a nap.
try not to hit myself in the head again.
How's it going, Sam? You enjoying the episode?
Yeah, it's going well. Had to wake up from my afternoon nap after I had a job interview this morning. Ugh. Damn it.
What time is it over there?
It's about 4 o'clock now.
Is it still over there? We have still over here.
No, it was 35 degrees Celsius yesterday. It was hot as balls.
All right. So, if you can just hold your mic a little bit close to your mouth, it's a little bit low. We get a lot of background noise.
Is that better?
So we have a fan or a fire on that might be. Perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and get through these questions.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better right off the bat.
Yep, cool.
Um,
Took my
we
hands
are-
free out of it. I think it's playing up.
Are we open on your YouTube?
Don't think so.
No.
Because we could hear ourselves.
That'll be because I've got you on loudspeaker.
If you just turn us down a little bit.
How's that?
How is that? Nope, you can still hear us. Man. All right. Well, I guess. Try your headphones, and we'll make that work because we're not going to be able to hear anything you're saying if it's.
I got brand new headphones.
Actually, no, we just want to talk. If we just get your answer, then that's fine.
Hang on.
Oh. This is where
we can just do it without you talking because that's too hard.
Yeah, I think that's going to be easy. Cal asks, who is your favorite X-Men from the animated series?
My favourite, as you saw when I nearly smacked myself in the head before, I have my stick. Has to be Gambit. I always loved Gambit. I had the action figure when I was a kid. Don't know whatever happened to it. Yeah, so Gambit was my favourite.
Any particular reason why?
I've always had an obsession with staffs for some reason. Don't ask me why. I think it was Daffy Duck's parody of Robin Hood, where he has the quarter and a quarter staff.
Gold.
So, yes.
All right. At the _ Renee asks, which character had the best story arc?
Now this is where I need some member berries because I can't really remember a lot from. I remember I used to watch this on Cheese TV, which is our sort of morning kids cartoon type show in Australia back when I was a kid. So I don't remember a lot of the one that really sticks out, and I brought this up on I think my first episode of Fan Friction, where I think I was fighting against the lovely Kimber, was the Wolverine one, where they go into how he got the adamantium and yeah.
You guys got something you want to say?
Well, that was that round that I got messed up, and then I had to fight one fight.
Oh, the round was terrible. We won't go into the round. We'll just talk about how Wolverine and his adamantium animated series episode was amazing.
Yeah.
Wolverine great. Yeah, no, that's definitely a good one. We should look at how he knew Sabretooth and all the other stuff. Cool. Ashley, that was according to David, asked, what character do you wish had a cameo on X-Men anime?
Now, I've gone with a different approach for this. Is there any rules in relation to this cameo? Do they actually have to be a Marvel character?
I would rather it be a Marvel character, but
Go crazy.
Because, you see, growing up here in Australia, I wasn't big into comic books, but there was one comic that I always used to read, and I have them here. We have the Phantom series by Mr. Lee Falk. So, we have the 1996 movie with Billy Zane, but that was arguably terrible. Wasn't great. But of course, the animated series came out prior to that, so I don't know who would have owned the rights or when Paramount acquired them. So I'm assuming that either the Phantom or even Mandrake the Magician, who was another character by Lee Falk, could have made cameos on the X-Men the Animated Series. Although after our lovely guests talked about the whole Crocodile Dundee and the Australian Wolverine thing, Paul Hogan definitely needed a cameo with Wolverine with a whole that's not a knife, this is a knife scene.
Shink. Great. All right. Dean asks, what is the best villain from the animated series?
Once again, I'm having trouble remembering a lot. I have recently bought all the box sets, so I have all the episodes that I'm going to start rewatching. But from memory, the only one I can remember really clearly is Magneto. I've always loved Magneto in both the movies and the animated series. So I'll stick with Magneto.
Cool. All right, well, that's all of our questions. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching.
No worries.
All right, talk to you soon. And sorry to hear about.
Well, hey, I'm going to start my own channel. This is part of the negotiation that's going on at the moment. There's literally going to be a second channel with Blackjack and Hookers because me and Jack can't come to an agreement about my show. Although the current negotiations is the original idea for my show may need its own channel because Jack doesn't want to associate with it. But there might be a family-friendly version that we can do on Tough that I might have to talk to Kimber about making an appearance in the first episode.
You could just do Tough After Dark.
No, well, this is rough.
Whoa. We might need
R-rated unofficial fan fights. I'm going with the R-rated version.
All right.
So this is rough.
Always a pleasure. Talk to you soon.
No worries. Bye.
Later. I know that Eric is saying that he needed
Yeah, and I got it right here. So we're going to try to send it to Eric. Sorry about that echo, guys, but once we have that video edited, we won't even know.
So after Eric, if we can get him in, we'll have Dub, and then we're going to call it a night.
All right, so Eric, just look around your email. I just sent it to you. And then something should be popping in. If everybody wants to give them any tips on where to look in your Gmail, because we've never called ourselves, so we don't know. Anyways, will you calm down?
And thank you guys for sticking around. This has been a really fun and awesome show, so we appreciate you. Papa bless. Every time.
Ba-da-ba-ba. This is rough. That's so funny about RUFF. Clever. I even put that together. Yeah.
We just put that together.
Babe, I need a second sometimes, okay? Nights have been very overwhelming. For this cat, man. She's going crazy.
It's her name is Percy.
You haven't even seen her try to climb the... Yes, we already have a Christmas tree. But she's trying to climb it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I found a piece of yarn that she stole like
5
feet up in the tree, so she obviously climbed there and deposited a piece of yarn.
I'm gonna send you another one, Eric. Maybe you'll see it pop up. Again, anybody in the chat have any advice for him? Maybe just check around. Yeah, so Eric, just check around your inbox. It might come up in social. It might come up in junk mail. Like it's on your phone. Do you have Google Hangouts on your phone? Because then I can just make you an name, and you should be able to call right in. If that's the case. And is that the account that's connected to this chat?
so distracted.
Cats are a part of the agenda against Christmas.
She just wants to be in the shot.
She's such
That's
a.
perfect. It's funny, Delisha, like the bottom third of the tree is not decorated so that she can't destroy anything. And all of the ornaments are shatterproof.
While we're trying to figure out what's going on, just to let you know, 2 weeks from now, which is the 5th of December, friend of the show, Malcolm, who jumped in for our Disney episode, quick, if you don't remember, he will be joining me on the couch for our anime episode. We're finally doing one.
Yeah, unfortunately, anime is just not my favorite, so I don't have the knowledge. It's like one of those pop culture guests that we all have. Anime is definitely mine. So I'm going to sit out on that one. I'm probably going to call in, just like you guys.
And I'm sure you'll be hanging out in the chat.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
So she'll still be here. She'll still be involved in spirit and pop on. But Malcolm's going to be joining me on the couch.
I'm just probably going to talk about Sailor Moon.
What a coincidence.
I'm hoping.
Tuxedo, oh man. Tuxedo Mask has the best powers. Anthony Roses.
Maybe just Sailor Moon? After the anime episode, 2 weeks after that, we're going to be doing an episode about holiday movies. So that should be fun. Looking forward to that. And after that, we are probably going to take a break, just like everybody else kind of is, to catch up on editing. We don't really have a set date when we'll be back. When we'll be back, it's probably just going to be whenever we can catch up a little bit because we have quite a few episodes waiting to be edited. We just want to get those up before we don't want to be like 10 episodes behind. We're still trying to get Eric in here, so bear with us. We're going to have Eric, hopefully, and then Dub will be calling a night here. Dub is the closing act.
Alright, we're just going to try Eric one more time. If he gets in, he gets in. If not, he's going to try next time. But we appreciate your effort. We appreciate everyone for sticking around to the end. We know it's a long one. We're actually really close to our usual run time. So thank you everyone for giving us some speedy answers. I hope everyone had a great time listening to Julia. Like we keep bringing it up.
They were.
Yeah.
I've met some celebrities who were not super nice to your brother.
The truth comes out. Actually, I think we've been pretty open about that this entire time. All right. Looking like
you want to call Dub, and then
yeah.
if Eric is still around, maybe we can try again. Dub, you want to shoot us a DM of your Google Plus email real quick?
We talk too much. What is
Yeah,
that?
it is.
Yeah, that's weird. Just wasn't coming up. All right,
That's what I thought.
try. All right. You guys ready for the closer? One of the OSP originals from our
OSP
Blab
OGs.
days. Rest in peace, Blab. Hashtag Cats of Blab. Pound it, Mavis. Pound it.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
How do I turn on my? Hold on. There we go.
Don't mind the picture, everyone.
Is that better? I'm sorry.
Yes, that's better. How's it going, buddy?
How's it going, man? Long time no see. Sorry, that's my main profile picture. I apologize.
That's all right. We needed the laugh. Oh man.
Okay.
Episode.
Very good episode. I enjoyed it. I watched the animated series not while I was a kid because I didn't have any, popular TV shows to watch. So I went back and watched it after the fact. And the first thing I watched was the whole Cable appearance and saga. So I enjoyed that, and that's what got me hooked on it. But then I had already read most of the stuff in the comics, like the Phoenix saga. So immediately when I saw Jean Grey, I was like, oh, this garbage is going to take up most of the series. I'm not interested in that. Can we move past it? But of course, they had to reintroduce, just like Uncle Ben to Spider-Man. They had to keep rehashing it over and over again for the people who don't know. But yeah, it was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
All right. Well, then let's get into some specifics and ask you some questions. Our buddy Cal, also another Blab veteran at Beer and Ja Deja Vu, asked, who is your favorite X-Men from the animated series?
It's a toss-up. If you don't want to count Magneto as an X-Man, even though in many iterations he was an X-Man, I would say also Cable was kind of not an X-Man, but an X-Man at the same time. So it's kind of hard if you want to go by that. I would say either Magneto or Iceman, even though he was a one-off character. It's hard for you to pick because it's all the one-off characters. I wasn't a fan of any of the main cast. So, yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. And like some of them did had like honorary memberships on the X-Men too. Like I think Colossus turned it down, Nightcrawler turned it down, but you did have like Forge show up later on as part of like another X-Men. I always thought it was interesting how like Cable and Bishop came with X-Men patches already, on them, like they knew.
Well, Bishop was part of the XSE, I believe, which is like the Xavier something system or whatever. Yeah.
All right. Well, Delicia _ Renee asks, which character do you feel had the best story arc?
Oh, easily Cable. That's what I got introduced with. So, of course, I'm gonna have to go with Cable. I found everything that happened with him to be really on par with the books that I already read about Cable. So I enjoyed the voice acting most of all. Well, almost everyone on the show had a really good voice actor, save for maybe the Morlocks and Sabretooth. I didn't enjoy the voice acting. But aside from those, I enjoyed everyone.
Yeah, they had a talented cast, and it was cool to... Do you mind? Thank you. It was really cool to have, have them pull from theater... I'm getting it from both sides. Have them pull from theater actors in the surrounding area, because initially they had, a bunch of, kids set up to do Cyclops stuff like that, but it sounded really kids boppy, so they went and outreach to all these programs and it all. That's cool. Ashley, as that Mrs. Davis, asked, what character do you wish had a cameo in the X-Men animated series?
You already know I want to say Daken, but at the same time, around that era, I would say Shatterstar and Richter. They're pretty much a duo. So I would say that was really missing. And of course, I was already a fan of X-Force. That's why I like Cable so much. But I said this in the question thing, Boom Boom, as a joke. But I didn't know that Boom Boom had made a cameo in X-Men, the animated series. But it was a really crappy cameo. It's after the animation changed to the the last season, which was I'm not going to bring that up to your guests because they're beautiful people, but the last season animation was god awful, and please don't include this in the show. Edit this out. I didn't understand what happened. Cannonball was a mess. It just seemed like they rushed the last season out there just to get it over with and put a nail in the coffin.
They actually like switched their animation studios to somewhere else for the last season. They were like outsourcing it from like another country with like
because Saban took over and did it in house in their offices because of something.
That was rough.
To do with the network. But they were the writers. Like they were, you know what I mean? Like, well, I'm not gonna put the art style and stuff like that because like what was it? It was like an orc Wolverine at one point. Yeah. Like it looked bad.
Yeah.
Shame on that network.
You said it.
All right, and our last one, at Janine Gambine asks, who is the best villain from the animated series?
I think the main villain is always going to be the government, because at the end of the day, it's them who are sending all these people after the X-Men and the mutants to round them up. So I mean that was the basis for the X-Men, that they didn't understand them, that who isn't understood, will eventually have groups sent by the government after them to round them up and put them somewhere. And I was seeing a lot of parallels to present day, there's going to be a list and so on and so forth, the Holocaust, this, and it is true because the X-Men is all about, this minority, these people that are being oppressed and misunderstood and therefore classified as dangerous. Well, some of them are extremely dangerous, but at the same time, how do we handle this situation? How do we handle this group of people? Should we just put them in a box somewhere? Should we find some way to reach some sort of understanding with them? Or should we just label them all terrorists? And, so yeah, I'd say the government is always going to be the primary evil in any X-Men story.
Yeah, and not for nothing, Pence looks like Senator Kelly, early Senator Kelly in the comic books. If you've seen the picture comparison, pretty classy.
Well,
it's
I
uncanny.
just hope that it doesn't. I'd say Cameron Hodge. I hope this doesn't turn into a phalanx thing because that'd be scary to just see Pence's head on like a huge robotic thing walking around. That'd be my only concern.
Pence Sentinels.
Or just put it on Trump's body. That's enough of a phalanx for you.
I think that's like a MODOK kind of combination there.
Well, I guess if you put he's permanently sitting on a toilet, yeah.
Is Xavier much different?
I think that the MODOK, if MODOK was included in X-Men the Animated Series, I think I wouldn't have watched. I think that would have been it for me. I'd be like, okay, this is the guy with a giant head sitting on a toilet saying, I'm going to get you. I think in any iteration of MODOK, there has been one villainous scheme that's worked out for that guy. And wasn't that from the guy from Iron Man 2 that turns into MODOK, or did he create MODOK? Do you remember what I'm talking about? The guy who I picked as my favorite in an episode?
Oh, Hammer? Hammer has, in the comics, he has some connection through AIM. He has a connection to MODOK.
But he doesn't become MODOK.
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
Hammer
good.
is not MODOK. MODOK's artificial.
Okay, good. Maybe he doesn't have to poop after all. Maybe he just looks like he's pooping. Who knows?
He does always look like he's pooping. And with that, we're going to close another great episode of Odd Shaped Panel.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much for stopping by, Dub. It was a lot of fun, and glad to see you back and in good shape.
Very much so. Great job, guys.
Have a great night. Oh, he knows how to get out. All right. Well, I think that's it, everybody. It's 12:03. Right at it. What a wonderful episode. We love you too, Eric. Thank you so much. And don't be sorry. We're sorry. Next time.
Damn, I wanted to ask them about that Magnus thing because Magneto's name is Magnus on the show, not Eric.
Maybe we'll tweet them and ask them.
Yes.
Guys, find out why Magnus's name is not Eric. Tweet at X-Men the Animated Series.
Hashtag Magnus Nito.
Magnus is Nito. All right, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by another Odd Shaped Panel. This one definitely a step forward in the right direction, I think. you have any other ideas, if you liked this style of show where we had a guest in the beginning of it, if you have any other ideas for guests, let us know. We're going to be doing our next live episode anime the 5th of December.
2 weeks after that is the holiday movies special.
And keep an eye out for the date. Our Patreon members for our watch along movie, which is Glenn or Glenda by Ed Wood. We'll figure out a time that works best for everybody. Pretty much how it works is the $5 Patreons will be able to watch the movie with us, and any other Patreons will be they'll be able to watch the movie with us on screen. So currently Mormo and Joe, plus ones, can watch on screen with us, and then any other Patreons, we're going to give you the link to watch along with us. And
we're going to be chatting and stuff. So
yeah. So think of it as a OSP 3K, we can call it. Except we were calling it OSP Peep Show.
Or a minor movie get together.
And with that, if you want to talk to us on Twitter, you can at OddShapedPanel, or you can use the hashtag ToughOSP. If you'd like to talk to Kimber,
you can write me at SJ Plus Junkie. With the IE, he's waiting for it.
And I was like, what am I waiting for? Other than that, be sure to check the links in the description. They will bring you to our main channel, which has some great content on it. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat. Quick shout outs for everyone who's still here. Mormo, Eric Monroe, Delisha,
Ashley,
Joe, Dub.
And also, again, a huge thank you to Eric and Julia Lewald.
Yes.
For coming to the show tonight. That was awesome getting to talk to you guys about something that was so influential on both of our childhoods.
It is a big deal. And the fact that you know it's a big deal means a lot to us. And quick shout out to Dockin. And we're going to close the show. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Talk to you on Twitter. Enjoy Thanksgiving. What else? You look like you have something else to say.
See you later, bub.
Shink, shink. Oh, sorry, Sam. Sam is also here. Bye.